Lignières plays host to the 2019 series finale. £350,000 of prize money, 4,490 miles travelled, 85 competitors, 15 nationalities, 6 legs, but only one series winner. The battle for the 2019 podium is on. This is Eventing Reinvented. This is the Event Rider Masters.
France plays host to the Event Rider Masters 2019 finale, where the Masters Road to Lignières concludes. The Pole de Cheval at Dulin is around 3 hours south of Paris in the small town of Lignières and is one of the most famous race courses in the country. With 9 former leg winners, 8 different nations and all 3 former series champions in the lineup, the series champion for 2019 and the Lignières leg winners are going to be decided this weekend. Who will be on the top spot of the podium? We'll make sure that you stay with us throughout the weekend to find out, because we have an incredible lineup for you. We have got so much in store and we do hope that you'll be with us every step of the way. eventridermasters.tv and of course across our social media channels as well. Welcome to Lignières, welcome to France. It's a little bit overcast outside, but it isn't raining, and fingers crossed the sun will come out to shine a little bit later on. Delighted to say, joining me in the studio, Mark Ruddock, our dressage expert. Mark, Lignières, it's a beautiful venue, isn't it?
A stunning venue, another venue that's amazing, and a really high-class field as well we have.
Well, we have. You mentioned that high-class field. We've the likes of the brand new FEI World #1, Oliver Townend, who was announced as World #1 yesterday. Tim Price, Chris Burton. It's just a veritable feast of top names.
It is, and I find it difficult to actually pick one. We've got Michael Young, Sarah Cohen, Gemma. I mean, I think we're high class, and it's not over, is it, in the league?
It absolutely isn't, because pressure can certainly provide mistakes, the drama. We won't know the winner until the last horse crosses the line tomorrow afternoon. But we are, of course, leg 6 of 6 here in Lignières. Let's take a look at the road to Lignières en Berry.
2019, the 4th year of the Event Rider Masters Series, looks set to push the boundaries of equestrian sport even further. Tipped for the top ahead of the first leg were series favourites Chris Burton and Laura Collett. Also returning was the now FEI World #1, Tim Price, with the world-renowned Wesco. With exceptional horsepower in his string and the World #1 ranking, he was a man on form. Riders also expected to make a serious assault were fan favourites Bill Levitt and Sarah Cohen, both pushing for the podium with renewed vigour. With the best 5 results counting towards the season championship, the competition and the road to Lignières en Berry was wide open. Leg 1, Chatsworth. Drama from the off saw Chris Burton withdraw after the show jumping. This, along with the absence of Tim Price, opened up the field for the likes of Laura Collett and Tom McEwen, with Collett ultimately taking the win and prized series points. Leg 2, Wiesbaden. The series saw a new field coming forward to stake their claim on the title, with double Olympic champion Michael Jung and defending leg champion Ingrid Klimke closing out the competition in 1st and 3rd place respectively, with Chris Burton setting his series score in 2nd place. Leg 3, Arville. Current contender Bill Levitt continued his clandestine assault on the series, tactically picking up the points. A dramatic safety device activation saw Chris Burton take 11 penalty points in the cross-country, securing a series lead but preventing him from defending his Arville title and catapulting the Prices to a 1-2 at the top of the podium. The gloves were very much off. Leg 4, Jardy. Further drama from Chris Burton, who withdrew before the dressage, opening the door yet again to give Janelle Price the series lead following a 6th place finish. Bill Levitt and Shenandoah Titan picked up their 3rd top 10 finish in a row to gain a series boost up into 2nd place. But it was the young up-and-coming French superstar Gireg Lecoz who topped the podium with Aspery de la Loge, jumping him into 4th place in the series standings. Leg 5, Mill Street, and another twist in the tail. With Janelle Price absent, the door was open for the chasing pack to make significant gains. Burton, Levitt and Lecoz capitalise with their consistency, the two Aussies sharing the overall lead on 73 points, and the French rider close behind on 68, setting up what promises to be a sensational series finale on the road to Lignières-en-Berry.
Well, after 5 legs in the series, let's take a look at how things stand. It is Chris Burton out in front, jointly with Bill Levitt. We'll come on to him, 73 points on the card. The young Frenchman, Gireg Lecoz, it's been an incredible rise to the top here this year, and he is looking for a series podium for the first time. Janelle Price, she was on the series podium back in 2016, the first year of the Event Rider Masters, and she bids to be on it once again in 2019. Then you've the likes of Sarah Cohen, and don't discount Alex Bragg, because 30 points for a win here could really see him climb into a podium position. And of course, Gemma Tattersall comes here with a very strong chance as well here this weekend. So we have got a whole host of the series contenders coming forward here. And we start off with Chris Burton, 73 points on the card. We're going to come on to him in more detail in just a second. But Bill Levitt, who was joint with Chris in the series. Bill, Shenandoah Titan, he's been retired from the sport, which means that he is not competing here this weekend. Bill's going to be sadly missed this weekend because he can't challenge for a series podium finish, but Shenandoah Titan as well, he's been a star for him.
Well, I mean, he's a legend, isn't he? And that's why he's so popular. Bill is the nicest person, huge family man, and the whole family involved, and the highest caps for the ERM so far, isn't he?
He is, and he's going to be joined on 20 caps by 3 other riders here this weekend. Bill Levitt, I'm sure we'll see him back in the 2020 series, but Shenandoah Titan, my personal highlight was him being on the podium in Arveil back in 2018. Do you have a highlight?
Some of the dressage tests that he has produced this year, and Bill's, and I suppose the other highlights or disappointments for Bill, these odd little flags and pins.
He's been a roller coaster in the Event Rider Masters series, but happy retirement, Shenandoah Titan. We hope you have long and longy happy days out in the field. The Prentice family and the Levitt family have looked after you and will continue to do so. But we will miss you in the Event Rider Masters series, and that means that Bill isn't here to add points this weekend. Let's just have a word on Chris Burton, Mark, because he comes here as the defending champion. He won the series finale in Blair last year as well. He's surely got to be the one with it to lose this weekend.
Yes, it is his to lose, and we know this pressure cooker. We've seen it in every event this year, haven't we, where there's been some major incident, and that's what makes this sport so amazing. And nothing is over till that certain size lady sings, is it?
Absolutely. We won't know the winner until the last horse crosses the line, which means we are in for a brilliant weekend. We hope you'll stay with us. But let's go and find out just how the numbers stack up in the series. Can anybody overhaul Chris Burton? What has he got to do to win? Let's go and say a very good morning to Derm in Echo Ratings Corner.
Good morning, Nicole. Yes, of course, all of those numbers stacking up in favour of Chris Burton at the moment. But incredibly, as we head into our final competition, the 24th time that the Event Rider Masters has run, there are 6 people here who could win. And of course, you mentioned Bill Levitt, who's joined on top of that leaderboard at the moment, 73 points. He can still win, or certainly tie, but that would require an awful lot to go wrong for these names you can see. Chris Burton, he is going to be the favourite. We'll come back to him in a moment. Gireg Lecoz, the last time we were in France, he came out victorious. And Janelle Price, over the course of this season, those placings have added up. She is now in a really good place for the series. I would also say keep an eye on Sarah Cohen and Treason. They've been on a series podium before, and they're certainly, if we look at the SAP Eventing Prediction Centre, you can see now Chris Burton odds on, over 56% likely to win this series. And as you look at the others, it's actually Sarah Cohen who comes out ahead of Gireg. I think Janelle and Gireg are going to have a real battle. They're very closely matched on numbers. They're going to be close to each other all across this weekend. Those points are going to be critical. Firstly, if you want one thing to remember, if he is anywhere on the podium, Chris Burton, he is guaranteed a win. I would suggest he can even be a little bit lower. He's going to be taking on some big talent. Tim Price, of course, riding Ascona M. Can he do his wife a favour? Try and push Chris Burton down a bit. Star Connection, a former winner, Michael Young, he's going to be doing the same. Key moments to watch out for very quickly. Gireg Lacoste, we're going to see him very early this morning. He's going to be 3 or 4 coming in. I would say that dressage test is critical. We know he can finish on his dressage score, but how low can he go? He did a PB when he won in Jardy. I think he needs to be fairly close to that again. I would say Janelle Price the same. The Gravine, the Rev dressage test is going to be a critical moment in this series. Sarah Cohen's show jumping round, will she keep the poles up? That'll be critical for her series chances. And finally, as we get to the very end, Sunday evening, will he jump clear? If he jumps clear, Nicole, I think he wins it.
Well, there's absolutely no doubt that all of the big names will be looking to stand in Chris Burton's way. The question is, can anybody do it? We'll be getting underway with the dressage very shortly, so do stay tuned for the first horse down the centre line. But you'll have us here in the studio throughout the weekend. You'll have Derm crunching the numbers in Echo Ratings Corner, down there on the ground, getting all of the behind-the-scenes news and finding out exactly what is going on. Let's go and say a very good morning to Hannah.
Certainly going to be switched right on high this weekend.
Well, who will be leading the first phase? We will have all of the dressage action throughout the day. But there are tons of ways that you can get involved in the Event Rider Masters series at home. Let's go and find out more in Echo Ratings Corner.
Well, at the end of the 4th series of the Event Rider Masters, what a partner SAP have been for this series. And let's take a look at just some more of the ways in which you guys can get involved. This year, the Fan League was launched. We've had fans from tens and tens of countries around the world who have been involved in this, all competing against each other in a number of different ways, whether it was through stacks, whether it was through spectator judging, people trying to find a way to get to the very top of this. And it's going to come to a head today. Stacks are loaded. The first question is already asked. 97% of people have told us that Oliver Townend will be able to go below 28. Is it a stack buster? It's the first question out there. Spectator judging is loaded. You guys at home can judge along with every single test across this morning and this afternoon as we see how can you compare to the judges. And thank you again for all of the support for Hannah's Wilbury Wonder Pony charity. It's been a brilliant series for us so far. People have been donating through the apps, adding to a charity that is close to all of our hearts. On tomorrow afternoon, it is going to be a critical cross-country round, particularly for one man. If he jumps clear, you can follow the fastest man in the world all across this weekend using the SAP trackers. That's the link. Don't miss it.
Well, there are tons of ways that you can get involved at home throughout this weekend. But if you join the Event Rider Masters Platinum Club, then you can have access to lots of exclusive content. And there are 2 very exciting yard visits coming up that you will not want to miss. Chris Burton opening the gates to his fantastic new facility. And my goodness, it really is quite incredible. Down in Dorset on the 10th of November. And then just a week later, Alex Bragg, Team Bragg, welcoming you to their facility in Somerset on the 16th of November. Go to eventridermasters.tv for more information on the Platinum Club, because my goodness, that is some incredible access that you can't just get anywhere. So look out for that. And this weekend, we are delighted to be once again running the Equistro Grooms competition. Grooms really are just the unsung heroes of the sport. They do an incredible job. They work tirelessly, and these horses really are their absolute everything. So we are looking to reward them alongside our new partners at Equistro. There are some incredible cash prizes on offer, €250 to the winning groom here this weekend, and you can vote on Facebook as well. So you can do so, vote on the Facebook page, Vote for your favourite, share it, like it, get others involved, because we want to reward these unsung heroes. And they do, as I say, an incredible job. So a huge thanks to Equestro for their continued support. It was a massive success in Mill Street. We're looking to make it bigger and better here in Lignières. So let's go and find a little bit more about what these special grooms do with Hannah.
Yes, well, the grooms really are the unsung heroes, Nicole. As you said, they work day and night to get these horses ready for competition, and they all look absolutely magnificent when they come out here. But I've managed to collar Jess Wilson, who's been working for Sir Mark Todd until he retired earlier on in the season and is now working for Tim and Janelle Price. Jess, just tell me a little bit about your job, your role, especially here at a competition. You know, it's really full on, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I often sort of remind myself that it's not actually a turnout competition. So as much as we absolutely want the horses to look stunning, a big part of it is how we can keep them relaxed and how they're going to perform at their best. So yes, we want them to look really clean and beautiful, but a lot of it is just making sure they're happy, comfortable. So whether that's extra grazing or magnetic blankets that we use, or just how we put them in their stables if they don't like being alone or they don't want horses back and forth past them. So whatever we can do really to keep them calm and happy, and then hopefully in the right frame of mind to do their thing when the riders get on them.
It's a big ask, isn't it? Because it's a long journey out here. You've travelled all the way out from the UK. We're in the middle of France. It's, they've been in the truck for a long time, and then suddenly they're asked to go into an arena like this and perform at the highest level. Any top tricks that you do to look after them?
I think, like I said, hand raising, as much as we can get the horses in there sort of Tim and Janelle's, they turned out a lot. So as much as we can get them out of their stables in the fresh air with their heads down, grazing, and then also just making sure we're nice and calm around the stables and not getting flustered, I think is really important, just so the horses can try and be in the best frame of mind possible, and then they can answer hopefully the questions when Tim and Janelle get on them and they're ready to go.
And all those plats, Jess. I mean, there's a lot of platting going in the stables right now, I can tell you. Well, we'll see Tim and Janelle's horses come out in a minute and get ready for competition. But if you want to get involved in the Equestro competition, you can vote for your favourite groom and horse on our Facebook page.
And definitely make sure you do so, because they do an incredible job. Vote, as Hannah says, for your favourite. Well, we are around 7 or 8 minutes now from the first horse going down the centre line. That is going to be Oliver Townend, the 2016 series champion, with a new ride for him, Alcatraz, a test you do not want to miss. But I think it's time we take a closer look at what is in store and who we need to look out for here in Lignières. Let's go back to Equirating's Corner.
We've talked about this series, Nicole. It's time to look at who wins the final leg. And we've never had a 4-star short at the venue before, so some of the analysis has been a little bit tougher. If we look at the first phase, dressage, you can take it that you're going to need to be somewhere, I would say, between 26, probably no higher than 28. There's a number of them who can do it, and it starts very early. So the world number 1 is first in this morning, Oliver Townend and Alcatraz. And then, of course, we're also going to have Gireg. So 2 key moments coming right up. I would say keep an eye on all those winners who come in the final leg. Jumping and cross country. So both tomorrow. When we look at that, I would say the jumping here has been a little bit easier, but they have been lower levels, and the time critically has been a little bit easier. They've also been lower levels. If we go to the prediction centre right now, Tim Price is the favourite, Quality Purdy, Chris Burton second, but it's very, very close. You can look at this on equiratings.com, you can look at this on eventridermasters.tv. You'll be able to see all of the movers across the weekend. Right now, Tim Price is favourite. I would say Star Connection looks a little bit too low here. I think Michael Young will be I think he'll get into that mid-20s mark and he can finish on it. Can Chris Burton finish outside the top 3? Absolutely, because I think there will be FODs this weekend. This first phase is absolutely critical, Nicole.
Well, it is going to be critical. We'll be looking forward to seeing how they get on in this first phase. Mark, we're going to come on to a few of the key contenders in the dressage a little bit later, but who are you most looking forward to seeing this weekend? Just going to put you on the spot. You know I love to do that.
Mr. Young.
Michael Young. Now, actually, interesting fact for you, Star Connection, Michael Young, bidding to become only the second combination in history to win 3 Event Rider Masters legs. Thomas Carlyle Upsilon, the other one previously. So
I believe it may happen.
You think it can happen?
He would have been my leg winner. He's just so consistent. I think Greg, I can't even say, I never can get that man's name properly. I think going to prove Derm wrong, and I think he's going to really smash his dressage because the horse is young. Mill Street, I think they went for a little bit too much power on the flat, and there was balance issues, and I think they will have taken away something from Mill Street because it's a stunning horse.
Watch this space. It's certainly a test that I'm definitely looking forward to seeing. Well, a few of the series contenders have been rounded up by Hannah, and she's going to find out their thoughts as we head into the dressage.
Well, as I said, the pressure cooker is really turned up onto full, and probably three people that are feeling it more than anyone are standing behind me. They are three of our highest contenders here this weekend. Starting with Sarah Cohen. Cutty, we have to talk about Jardy a little bit, because if it hadn't been for that unfortunate, unprecedented error, really, you'd be in a very different position here.
Yeah, it has haunted me, since Jardy, since that mistake. But I've learned for it, feed myself, so I am on it. And yeah, it's just I've gone to sleep thinking about it, woken up thinking about it, but just sort of starting to get over it. But yeah, but at least we know that we can be competitive with all these guys. You know, I only have him to ride, and at least I know that I can actually be competitive, and it's given me confidence that, yeah, let's get out there and fight for it.
Is it really important to now put that aside, put it out of your mind, and really focus on this weekend and the competition?
Oh, yeah, totally. I mean, yeah, there's been so many this year with a lot of people, not just us, if only, if I hadn't done this, hadn't done that, but that's the way it is, and that's the sport, and that, going against the clock, it pushes you to do those sort of things, but you have to take those risks to be in it and to go for it.
And you got your biggest fan here, Alfie. He'll be watching you from the side. Janelle, I'm going to come to you next. You're sitting in third place on the overall podium. There's a battle going on between you and Gireg. We haven't quite, apart from Arville, we haven't quite seen that sort of 5-star magic that we know you can perform at. Is this weekend going to be different? What do you need to do?
Gosh, you're tough. I thought I was going all right. Look, it's a horse I haven't had very long, but he's certainly holding his own. And, you've got to remember these classes. We haven't had huge fields, but they are as good as you will see anywhere in the world. They really are top quality. A second or 2 seconds, a rail can be the difference between winning and losing. So I'm just going to try and hold our own this week. Obviously, these two beside me are world class, and if I can get one over them somewhere along the line, we'll be happy.
Well, we certainly hope you can. Good luck, Janelle. And Berto, Chris, coming to you finally. You're always as cool as a cucumber. You never give anything away, but right now, this weekend, the victory is yours to lose in a way. Do you feel that at all?
Yeah, I must be putting on a good show. I'm really nervous about this one, really anxious about doing well. I'm very lucky. I've got a lovely mare to ride here, and I truly hope I don't do her anything wrong.
There's a lot of people sort of behind you, really not wishing you bad, because no one would want that. But, you do have to do something kind of spectacular, have a run out to really lose your position at the top of the leaderboard. How do you keep it together as a top level athlete? How do you keep that pressure under wraps?
I don't know. You're not making this any easier, is she? Yeah, you have to focus on your job, don't you? You have to keep looking forward, next jump, and then the jump after that, or the dressage and so forth. The mare's in really good shape. I've got a really good team. She prepared really well. So we'll let her loose and see what she does.
Okay, well, best of luck to all of you. As you can see, Nicole, these guys are at the top of their game. They're the best we will get at the Event Rider Masters. They're the best in the world, and we can't wait for the competition to get underway.
Oh, he does still look very, very cool and calm, doesn't he, Chris Burton? Let's take a look at this running order, the 3 sessions of dressage, and look at that. Oliver Townend, the 2016 Series champion. Alcatraz, a new ride for him. They've only one run under their belts previously. That was a win over in Ireland last weekend. Gireg, Lecoz, Esprit de la Loge as well, looking for big series points. And as Derm said in Echo Ratings Corner, that is a pivotal test in this first session. Then the likes of Thomas Carlyle, Atos Barbotier, one to watch for him. Good to have Tom back in the Event Rider Masters Series. Janelle, we've just heard from a news actually coming through that Kazuma Tomoto, Vinci de Levine have withdrawn this morning. So a last minute withdrawal. They will not be coming forward to the dressage. A little bit further on, this final session is just full of the big guns. Every single one of those riders has won an Event Rider Masters leg, with the exception of Christine Bates and Adelaide Hill, who are actually making their Event Rider Masters debut this weekend. But Adelaide Hill has won at this level more times than any other horse in the field, 3 victories previously to the horse's name, so they should not be discounted at all. That is the start list coming forward. The first horse due down the centre line any moment now, and it's an early start here in France, but the crowds are certainly starting to build. Mark Ruddock in the studio with me, Nicole Brown, and we will be guiding you through all of the dressage action as it unfolds throughout the day. Mark, what are you looking for, first of all? What are you looking for in this dressage? You're a List 1 judge. You've ridden to a very high level. What is that you're looking for?
Well, the ideal is, and I know it sounds weird on a dressage test, is brave riding, where riders really go for every mark with some sort of flair, and again, it's like the risks they take cross country. You know, it's like
in the dressage.
In the dressage.
Well, here we are underway in the series finale here in Lignières en Berry. It is Oliver Townend, the 2016 series champion, with a new ride for him. It is the 14-year-old Alcatraz, owned by Sarah Hughes, by Katia van der Heffink. And a horse that actually scored a personal best at the level below just last weekend in Ballindennis in Ireland. And this is a test that I know a lot of people are looking forward to watching. Mark?
The first halt could have been more direct. He just had a little trot into it, so it's a lack of engagement. And the same, so when I say about engagement, it's the hind leg pushing through from behind. And that comment will be said in that medium trot. The horse could have just thinking the engines comes from the hind leg. So the engine could have been more pushing, and he could have had more ground cover. It was in rhythm. Shouldering is a very good angle on the 3 tracks. But we could just do with a little bit more sort of cadence and lift and a sort of a bit more expression. The horse has been very relaxed, very rideable, but just could have a little bit more power. And so this is an extended trot, and we're looking at that extended trot shows more ground cover than the first trot we saw, and there could be more difference. There could be more difference from both trots. The halt needs to be square. Could you see again? So as I've been saying about the hind,
square in front, but not quite
as I was saying about the hind leg, like it just needs to actually be more active and more engaged and take the weight back more. We're thinking of like the speedboat, that the engine goes down and the front end comes up. And the rein-back was quite good, considering the halt wasn't quite square. Very rhythmical, which is a positive. It keeps the same 1-2 throughout. And could just be more supple through the half passes. Could see more bend through his body. You know, but he's not put a foot wrong. Very nice transition to the walk. Good relaxation in the walk, which for the event horses is the most difficult thing. So we're looking for overtrack in this extended. And we've got a nice surface so we can see where the front foot has come, and the hind leg needs to overstep. And it's well overstepping. Or tracking up, as we call it. Sadly, a little bit of crookedness there is going to be quite expensive in that transition. Because it's the little details that's going to play into everything today. You know, a little crookedness or a little late halt's not being quite square. They can't leave anything, these riders today. I mean, Oliver's are just getting used to these horses. Only done this second event.
How difficult is it to take on a horse at this level of competition and find out sort of which buttons are the right buttons to press?
I think to these riders that aren't human, it's not a bother.
Nice change.
Lovely, lovely change. Very expressive. And the horse's canter is its highlight, which most of these event horses, it is, because that's their jump. The canter needs to be their best phase. That was a lovely change. It was, and the horse has, when I said about cadence, has much more lift and expression. Oh, that's a shame. Just change behind that. So Oliver was being quite brave there, which you have to. And he just lost balance and changed behind. Sadly, be very expensive.
Sarah Cohen watching on in the background. She'll be one of the last to go, due in the arena at 12:23 Central European time today.
The half pass was very nice, supple. And I was like, in my head, I like to think that the bounce stays the same, that he bounces across in the half pass. It'd be really shame about that change.
It's costly, but the 8s have come back in very quickly.
I mean, the canter is stunning. Oh, and then late to the aid there, so it wasn't clean. He was late behind. You know, then this is obviously the first time Oliver has ridden this level test with the horse, because he was the level below, wasn't he, Nicole, last weekend?
He was the level below last weekend.
So there's no flying changes in the level below. So Oliver went for a little less, because that's extended on that second half, on that second one. And he went for a little less after the mistake he just had. So, and again, there you can see the lack of engagement into the halt.
Well, still a very good start from Oliver Townend, Alcatraz. Team Townend watching on Susie Cooper, who's been a huge part of the Townend team, always looking after his top horses. And you can vote as well, don't forget, for your Equistro groom using that hashtag voting on Facebook. But Oliver Townend gets us underway here with Alcatraz, and that should actually, I think, be a score that will sneak just into the 20s. And Mark, you can just see that there's a few more marks there that actually, there were two fairly major mistakes that were very costly.
Absolutely. And I would say that's just lack of knowing each other. The horse was very rideable, had a really good, you can see there that mistake. So it was a little bit of a balance thing as he came around that circle. Oliver would have been quite surprised that happened, I would say, because actually the horse was quite supple through it. And then again, that was just a mistiming and a quite not knowing each other, I would say, to that change. So with the two major mistakes, and we're still going to get sub 30. The canter is, this horse is stunning in the canter.
Well, Oliver Townend gets us underway here in Lignières Dressage. Let's go down to Hannah.
Thanks, Nicole. Well, let's see if we can grab a word with Oliver Townend straight off his new ride, Alcatraz. We're just waiting for those final marks to come in. He's just having a quick word with Karen, who he works very closely with to keep everything together. 29.4. Oliver, firstly, congratulations, the new world #1. How's it feel?
Yeah, good. Familiar, but no, I'm only joking. It's fabulous to be back there, and just, you know, we've had an unbelievable run. Someone told me in the last 8 5-stars we've been in the top 3 7 times, which is just a dream. It's incredible, and it's all thanks to the huge support, the owners, the girls at home, you know, the whole team. It takes a huge team to get one rider to a competition of this level, and it's all thanks to them, and I'm the lucky one that gets to hold the prizes and ride these fantastic horses.
Now, we can't ignore the fact that you're riding Alcatraz this weekend. That was Alex Bragg's previous ride. How has that transition been?
Yeah, good. Firstly, thank you to Dr. Sarah Hughes for giving me the opportunity to ride him. He's a horse that's a real character. I've enjoyed him. We've only had one start, which was his first international and first event with me last week at Ballindennis, which he won, and I think that's his first proper international eventing win. I know he's a great indoor horse, but hopefully, you know, it's a sign of things to come. I've probably only sat on him 6 times in my life, including the event, so luckily he's not a horse that takes much getting used to. He's very laid back, and no, he's a pleasure to ride so far.
Okay, thanks very much, Oliver.
Thank you.
Beat at the moment as here comes a young man making his Event Rider Masters debut. Tom Goman, the only Belgian rider in the field here, Thibaut Duquis, and a horse that has actually won at 2-star level, been placed at 3-star level this year, and actually went clear cross country at 4-star level a little bit earlier on this year. An impressive start as well, marked their Event Rider Masters debut.
A very impressive start. The horse has, when I was saying compared to Oliver's horse, he has more engagement, more activity behind, so they had the better ground cover in the trot. There's a very nice rhythm, and there's a little more cadence to this. This surface wouldn't be the easiest to actually make a horse have cadence, because it's just sand, and they've been watering these arenas constantly, like flooding them to the point of almost flooding. So actually any horse without a natural spring, is going to slightly struggle on this. I don't think you're going to see the flashiest. It's not going to enhance anybody's paces. Very good halt there. Very nice. The horse is lovely in the frame. Looks really rideable. I've never seen him before. So could have a little more bend, a little more through the pole, a little more flexion in that shoulder in. And the same in the half pass, but very well prepared, very well positioned, with the inside foreleg being the first leg you see in the crossing of the hind leg. Should be scoring highly because the rhythm, which is one of the first scales of training that the judges are looking for, is ticking that box every time.
Well, he's certainly performing well above his Echo-rating 6-run average, which would be 34.2. So well in touch with personal best territory at the moment. He'll be looking for the canter work to continue in this theme. But the horse looking really relaxed and rideable, Mark.
He is, and he's very nice in the mouth, and the judges like horses that look settled in the mouth, and he's shown no signs of tension. We know we'll go into canter, and I will ruin that for the poor man, but hopefully not. Again, there, the walk could have a little bit more purpose, but it was very correct, very relaxed. And a super transition and smooth. Where he's really nice, Tom, here, is really good with his hands, and he keeps asking the horse to stay forward to the bit and saying to the judges he's on his own legs, is in what the technical term is self-carriage, which means if those reins snapped, the horse would still keep cantering. He's not holding his head up with the reins. It's very light. I mean, and the canter's clear and the lovely beat. This is not the easiest movement, this, for any horse. But they're keeping the same rhythm throughout the whole serpentine. Okay, late to the aid. Which I don't think that's why its scores are what they are, because actually the time change, it was just mistimed. A very clear transition there. Slightly going onto his forehand. Could you see how through the turn the croup or the bottom came a little higher than the front end? Which is just a balance thing. But very smooth in transitions. And again, what I really like about this horse is how quiet he is in his mouth. Need a little more bend in that half pass, but quite nice bounce. This is the bend was lost towards the end, and that will be penalised. You know, and then you think to Tom's experience compared to Oliver's. You know, he's doing an amazing job. I think that's sometimes we don't take that into account with these first timers.
Absolutely,
Just
he's
following world number one.
only run at this level 4 times previously. A clean change, Mark.
Lovely change. Lovely change. And to be fair to Tom, he's not actually got stage fright having followed the world number 1.
Well, he's certainly looking to go ahead of the world number 1 as things stand on that leaderboard at the moment. And this would be a huge personal best for Tom and well above his 6-run average if he can just finish these last couple of movements.
Well, I mean, just and a really good harmony.
Well, Tom Goman and Thibaut Dequisse absolutely nailing their Event Rider Masters debut in the first phase. It's going to be an absolutely huge personal best for this horse at the level. Their previous best, 33.7 in Le Pouget at the end of last year. So really performing well above their previous best. And actually, Mark, it's brilliant to see that the judges are coming forward and really giving out those marks early on.
Yeah, totally. Just brilliant that actually a first-timer comes in, following Oliver, happy horse, happy rider, and the judges will really like it. That was a proper happy athlete. Very impressed.
He has certainly got his competition off to a very good start. And Tom Goman, Thibaut Dequisse will go into the lead. We'll confirm their score for you in just a second. But they will be the ones to beat. So Oliver Townend, 29.2. His score has just been adjusted to. And it looks like Tom should be around 28.5. We'll confirm that score for you when it does come through. But a brilliant Event Rider Masters debut for the young Belgian rider.
Tom, a fantastic test. You must be delighted.
Yes, I did. I'm surprised. I already know he can do it well, but sometimes it's very hard to convince him to do it when he's ready for the arena. And today he was ready. I'm happy.
Did you do anything particularly different in your preparation?
Not at all. I'm sorry. I wish I could tell you something very exciting, but no. Very normal.
Congratulations, Tom.
Thanks a lot.
The one to beat 28.5, and that sees him out in front at this early stage, well below his 6-run average, which was actually 34.2. Oliver Townend also well below his 6-run average with Alcatraz. So this could see us in for a pretty low-scoring day in the first phase. It'll be interesting to watch, but the first two coming in and going sub-30. It is worth noting, however, that that is also a reflection on the incredible field that we have here this weekend. I think 12 combinations were due to go sub-30. We could well see more than that now. Well, next to come forward, it is a combination that we are really keeping a very close eye on. It is those in with a series challenge. Guireg Licence, Esprit de la Loge. This just a 9-year-old that has absolutely exploded onto the Event Rider Masters scene this year. Mark, big test coming up.
I hope so. The horse, Nicole and I spotted him at Arville, didn't we? From afar, and fell in love with him. And then from then, but you can see here how naturally gifted the horse is in the trot. When I was saying about cadence, that's what I'm looking for, like lightness. And this makes the horse look like he's trotting on jelly, I suppose, because he's got so much bounce. You know, it's just that the horse is naturally gifted in the trot. Clearly, he has a good jockey and clearly has very good training. Very nice half pass, supple, rhythmical. And the expression the horse has with his front legs is matched by the hind leg. So, like, we're looking for the power from behind, and then the horse can push and pushes the length of stride, and it keeps the same rhythm, the same beat, the same 1-2. Then he shows a transition here, which is a mark on its own, smoothly, and then into a little abrupt into the rein back, into the halt.
Well, his test in Jardy was a personal best at this level of 28.2, and having a bit of a disagreement about their rein back.
Yes. It slightly happens, I think, because the balance into the halt wasn't so good, and then the horse was on his hand. You know, they're gonna penalise that, but he doesn't need to worry because he'll be able to get the marks back up because the trot comes.
But that is a big mistake, and actually it's proven fairly costly. You can see it sees him go above 30 on the penalty barrier. Now, for me, I think it's important to say that he needs to really be sub-30 to be chasing Chris Burton for the series leaderboard at this stage.
He does, and he will now be thinking he can't make a mistake in those changes. But the horse has the ability. I'm not scared yet. I'm not worried yet.
Okay.
You know, but everybody's got to come out and get a clear round. And to be fair, Tom was the only clear round we've had, and Oliver had 2 big mistakes. So.
Well, he'll really want to pull some marks back in this canter work.
I think the horse is showing it, just shaking his head a little bit, which would indicate the horse is a little bit on the fresh side. And this movement is not the greatest friend for a horse that's on the fresh side, because they anticipate the change. The horse might be thinking he's become like a king this year, I'd say. He might be just being a little bit cocky. The canter is beautiful. The quarters are swinging a little bit.
Chris Burton, Tina Cooke watching on. We'll see both of them later. Second change.
Late behind. So he let the horse get long, so that's, again, expensive. The horse got away from him a little bit before the change.
Now, actually, this score is very much in touch with where we would expect Janelle Price and Gravine Darev. Their 6-run average is 31.8. So they're only 1 point difference in the series.
But I mean, the horse is a 9-year-old, and I think this horse will end up being, it is world class, but I think it will be a medal horse. If everything stays how it is, and he just sort of owns the arena, and I think that's half his problem today. He wants to own it too much.
Well,
just the odd little blips. That was better.
Why was it better?
Because we had a nice rhythm. The horse waited, and the previous one, the horse ran away from him, and then it was late, and then it was lovely and clean, and it was in the same canter stride. and we had the expression. So, barring a blip, I think, you see that extended canter is so uphill. You see how the foreleg comes out in front of him. Looks like really fun to ride this horse. It's very smooth transition back.
Well, he would dearly love to be sub 30 going into the show jumping tomorrow. And we'll be very close to it. But Guirec Lecans, Esprit de la Loge, France, will they be on the series podium here in Lignières-en-Berry? The young Frenchman has done everything he can in the first phase. Couple of fairly costly errors, but should still look at sub 30. And it'll be very interesting to watch both Janelle Price and Chris Burton coming forward a little bit later on, who are closest to him in the series standings. But Guirec Lecans and Esprit de la Loge, he did a great job in kind of keeping a lid on it, Mark, because there was a moment after this Holt rein back that things could have unravelled slightly.
They could, and actually, and also as he went into canter, he sort of tossed his head around, and I think Guirec was having to slightly just play a little bit like keeping a lid on it. But the horse is the horse is a showman. The other two horses have been very obedient and more like very obedient children, where this horse is a little bit, I would say, a little bit dramatic.
On the edge. And actually, that's where we were talking about at the start of the dressage, bravery in this first phase, because sometimes you have to take a little bit of a risk. There's a lot at stake here for Guirec this weekend, and he has to go in there and ask for the big extended trots. He has to. It
does, but I think the horse actually sometimes says to him, I will give you more. I will give you absolutely more.
29.4, so into third place as things stand at the moment. But there he is, looking for series points here this weekend. And let's go and find out how Guirec thought that test went with Hannah.
Guirec, can I get a word? 29.4. It had to be a good start in order to try and guarantee that podium spot in the series. Do you think you've done enough?
No, I don't think I've done enough. I think I could have done better, but it didn't feel very with me, just slightly tense. But I think we managed to do all right. But yeah, it's okay, but we could have done much better, I guess.
He's very expressive, he's very flamboyant, and you did well to keep a lid on it, I think. I think things could have unravelled a lot more than they did.
That's it, yeah. I felt he could have gone worse, so I'm quite happy with it. But another day, I think I can do much better.
Okay, well, we look forward to seeing how the rest of the weekend goes for you, Guirec.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Bye.
Well, that is the first time I think we've seen in history in the Event Rider Masters that the first three have gone into the dressage and gone sub 30. So that is really quite an impressive start. And this young man, what can he do? It is David Dole with Patsy Mason's Mr. Hi-Ho. A horse that was actually produced by Emily King, was her junior European Championship horse, won a medal with her back in, I think it was around 2012, and then went to Oliver Townend and had a good deal of success with Oliver in so much as won at this level with Oliver. But David's had the ride for a couple of years now, and a horse that can really put in a very strong performance in all three phases. So David Dole and Patsy Mason's Mr. Hi-Ho. Their 6-run average, 32.6. But the first three have all gone sub 30. Can David do the same?
If he starts if the test carries on, how we start, very positive, good halt, very nice rhythm there in the medium trot. Could maybe have had a little bit more ground cover and a little bit more power. But I think the riders sometimes just need to feel their way into the test for the first couple of movements and feel actually how the horse is mentally in there. And I mean, this horse is very experienced, very nice positioning. Yeah. Could have a little bit more bend to get into the 8s. Again, very nice in the contact. And we're really looking at the horse's nose, just always stays slightly in front of the vertical. So like there, he came behind it, and then David just gave him a little bit of leg and said to him to get the nose out in front. The judges appreciate that David would know that and did something to adjust the frame. That was a very novice-y transition there where he walked into the halt. I wouldn't expect that at this level. So the judges will criticise that quite strongly. I think maybe the horse stopped before David wanted to. See, the trouble, there's only 2 tests at this level, so the horses, especially these older ones, they're like, which one is it today? Very nice in the rhythm. Just losing the bend towards the end and could be better finished. So that would be where the C judge probably would be lower than the other 2 judges in that half pass. Very nice walk. Because there's a mark separately for this walk here. From H to the S. And then the extended is a separate mark. And then the judges have to remember, because they add the median walk in a minute into the first bit of walk, and they have to remember the first bit of walk. They are intelligent enough to be able to remember 2 walks only a minute apart. So that walk was not the best walk. That was the worst walk of the day, but it's not a horrendous walk. Just needed a little more relaxation, a little more over track. Very good transition. So I just want the horse to have a little bit more bend in his half passes. The canter could have a little bit more energy, a little bit more jump. See here. So the horse has to keep a clear 3 beat, which he's doing, but actually just is a little bit heavy to the ground. And needs to look like he's cantering on marshmallows, I said, I think last time we liked.
We've had jelly, we've had
jelly.
marshmallows this morning, Mark.
I think I'm a bit hungry. So that change was sort of mistimed by David. He sort of didn't ride forward to the change, he rode backwards to the change, and it wasn't fluent. And that was clear in that transition. And we want to see that the horse's bottom goes down and the front comes up, which it did, but the frame needs to be a little bit more open, because you're looking in the medium pace and the extended paces that the frame extends as well, goes longer, but without going onto the forehand. I think they were quite nice to him with that flank change mark, actually. So here you can see it doesn't really have enough bend. It was virtually, it was verging on being a diagonal, so I would think that would be to the 5s. So I would be thinking I need the rider to ask a bit more bend.
Is David riding this serpentine fairly tactfully, Mark?
I would say, like, in all of the half passes and things, it's not asking enough. That was a beautiful change. He's not really asking enough, but actually he may know that the horse actually, if he asks a little bit more, he could blow. You know, it is playing that balancing act when you get in there. He's like, I know I need more bend, but the horse could be that sort of character that's a little bit like, you're not today, thank you very much. You know, they all have characters like we all do, and some days, you know, and some horses can be a little bit like, don't push me today.
Well, as he comes down his final centre line, David Dole and Mr. Hi-Ho on track for a personal best here. Their previous personal best was 30.0 at Campfire at this level last year, but should go sub 30 today. And actually, that is a very impressive start from David, who's come through junior young rider ranks. And he certainly put in a very elegant test in the first of the 3 phases. And actually that gives us, or should give us, we're waiting for his final score, but our 4th test from 4, sub 30. So this is an exceptionally talented field, but we'll be getting Equa ratings to run the numbers. We've seen a few personal bests, a couple of, well, all 4 sub 30 so far. And that leads you to ask the question of just what are we going to see later? Some really big guns still to come. And we could be seeing some really low 20s dressage scores coming forward. But David Dole, waiting for his score to be confirmed, but has certainly been a very good start in this first phase for him. And it is going to be a personal best as well. 28.5, so he goes into the lead as things stand at the moment. Hannah, I imagine he'll be delighted with that.
I'm sure he will. Everyone likes a personal best. Just waiting for David to get off Mr. Hi-Ho. David, a personal best, 28.5. The grin says it all.
Yeah, he was super. Really, really delighted with him. I've got a great backup team and we've worked really hard. This has been a real sort of aim for the rest of the season for him. And yeah, you know, first part ticked off and done, and I couldn't do it without Adam Kemp and Nick Turner, who are my trainers, and Jade and all the other guys at home that sort of helped to make it all happen. So, no, delighted with the horse. He looks fantastic and he feels really well. So, no, thrilled with him.
Amazing. No more to say. Congratulations, David.
Thank you.
Well, he goes into equal first on 28.5 with Tom Goman, and Thibaut de Cuisse 28.5, also scored by the young Belgian. Mark, first four have come in, first four have delivered.
Well, it's fantastic. The judges, they're a very positive ground jury, but I'm going to feel sorry for the first person that plumps below 30 now. Yeah.
Well, let's give you an introduction to our ground jury, because we have some really experienced members. Angela Tucker, president of the ground jury from Great Britain. She's at C. At M, Nathalie Carrière from France, and at E, Andrew Benny from New Zealand. All three of those have judged at the very highest level, so we're in for a real treat, because we're in very safe hands, and that we've actually seen them really rewarding the good marks, but actually not afraid to pull out the 3 and the 4 paddles already so far today. Well, here comes a young man making his Event Rider Masters debut. It is Marco Biasia and Trésor de la Loge, the only Italian rider in the field. And as I say, making their Event Rider Masters debut here this weekend. A horse that has actually won at the level below, were second on their last international run at Palmanova in the 3-star. And Marco, hugely experienced, actually represented Italy at 4 World Equestrian Games, 4 European Championships as well.
So the first halt lacked balance, and this horse, we were saying earlier about the engagement from behind. This horse slightly hocks when he steps out, when he pushes off his hind legs, they go out behind him rather than push underneath him. So it doesn't help the lightness. And you can see here, he looks like a little bit on his hand, we would say, like lacking self-carriage, because the horse just needs to put, but it's the way the horse naturally moves. Nobody can make those, you can't replace the hind leg and put them, but like there, he starts to run a little bit in the medium trot, and the rhythm got quicker. So you'd be thinking of your metronome, that 1-2 went much quicker, and the ground cover, they liked it better than I did, so that's fine. Very good hold, because see, as he goes back, the horse needed to not lean onto his hand. So the halt was very good, but the rein back was a little bit on the hand. So again, that's because of the hind leg. Just need to take more weight behind. But it's like, because it's a triathlon for the horses, this would be that, each horse has a phase it finds not naturally so easy. Hopefully they find the show jumping in the cross country the easiest. But the dressage, every horse is able for it physically, but the horse is very good in its attitude, really rideable, and he's asking what he's doing. And he's consistently scoring the 7s. The walk has shown good relaxation, but you would like a bit more over track and a bit more ground cover. They'll probably say a little more freedom in the shoulder. We're just tracking up, we're just imprinting. You can see it there, just virtually not imprinting at the end.
When you say imprinting?
So for an extended walk, the hind leg needs to come in front of but when he came back to the medium, he needs to be standing. He needs his hind leg needs to step where his front leg had been, and he wasn't quite imprinting.
Okay.
Something like but very obedient in the transitions. The canter. Oh, that's a shame. He rescued that quite well. So there was a contact issue or a spook, but actually the horse didn't change legs. So a minor glitch, we'll call that. Now you would want, that was a very good flying change, because I would have thought in my own head that it wasn't going to be a very good flying change because he was quite on the forehand, and it could have enabled him to be late behind. But very good, very good through the gears there. Put his foot down, went, and then smoothly back. The horse does have more energy and more natural quality in the canter. The position of the half pass could have a little more bend. So even though these first horses are all going sub 30, there's still room for improvements to get these. We're going to get low today.
Going to get really good
low
marks, okay?
Yeah. because there's room for the little bits, like more suppleness, a clear round. Yeah. So that change wasn't on the aid. It's a bit sloppy from his riding. Sorry, I don't mean to be critical of him there, but he didn't really prepare the horse and just sort of slopped into it, I suppose. Very lovely picture there of the horse pushing from behind, coming up in front, looking like the horse is cantering over big balls.
Oh, and just lost a little bit of impulsion.
So the horse was anticipating that transition.
Well, that could prove an expensive couple of movements for Trésor de la Loge and Marco Piazza. And you can see 4s for that flying change. So we could see our first combination go above the 30 barrier, but this is still a very respectable score. His equating 6-run average of 30.8. So he's well in touch with that at the moment. But Marco making his Event Rider Masters debut here this weekend, and will confirm his score in just a moment for you. And don't forget that you can judge along using the SAP Spectator judging app at home. Download it for free in your app store. I think, Mark, we think we're going to get you to judge along.
Okay.
With a couple of combinations as we go on through the afternoon.
It was just those couple of little glitches. Like the horse was anticipating at the end, that little glitch, yeah. And then the end, when the horse was anticipating the transitions and it lacked fluency, just to stopped him. I mean, he should be in the sub-30s. Like the last halt, when the horse was anticipating the stop. You know, but they're smart creatures. You know, the horse was like, my work's here is done, Dad. I'll put the brakes on before you. You know, I'll do it myself. And it just loses the fluency, then the harmony. You know, but so I'm sad for him he's actually got that score.
Well, 31.1, it is still a very respectable score for Trésor de la Loge and Marco Piazza. That sees them go into 5th place as things stand at the moment. Let's go and hear what he has to say with Hannah.
Well, a 31.3, putting Marco into 5th place. We're just waiting for him to dismount. The horse is a little bit feisty after that test. There's some hot moments. Marco? No, come on, English, Marco. My French is not so good, I'm afraid. A few moments in that test that were a little exciting.
No, not very good. But normally is very good in dressage. Now me little bit error. Donc no good for the point. But tomorrow it's long, no? So jumping is good.
Tomorrow, jumping phases, they're going to be much better for you?
I think, yeah. I think.
Best of luck.
Thank you.
Well, Phoebe Locke next to come forwards with Picador. And Phoebe, the youngest rider in the field, just 19 years of age, but such a talent for Team GB. Part of the young rider team that won Team Gold at the Marsbergen Young Rider European Championships this year. And this is a horse that she actually bought here in Lignières last year. So 12 months ago, Maxime Livio produced the horse up to this level and actually has had a good deal of success, including a 6th place in the Event Rider Masters back in 2016. But Phoebe very much making her mark as well.
So it was a very good start. The medium trot could have had a bit more power. And I'm just thinking that shoulder, and the horse has quite a flat trot. And it's a little bit on her hands. So it's actually just lacking some lightness. And you can see like it dips, the pole keeps dropping. There he's trying to find her hand to lean on. She's doing her best to actually get those back legs. And you can see again there, she comes back to that transition, how he shortens his neck. And it isn't very smooth, the transition, because actually he'd rather be on her hand than using his hind leg. And again, showed into that halt, sadly. The rein back was very good. Horses surprised me. Sometimes you think it's going to be the rein back should have been bad there, but it was actually very good. This is looking lighter now. You just get days where the horse is just a little bit like, you know, I'd rather you did the work for me, mummy. She's producing a very good position there. It's just at the end when after he's done the movements, he just wants to get on her hand a little bit, and then the frame gets a little short. She's got very out there music.
Well, riders can pick their music that accompanies their dressage, and if you want to do so and listen along, you can do on the website eventridermasters.tv. If you're watching on Facebook, you won't get the music, so you do need to go onto the website to get that. And it really does add something to it. Phoebe's picks Dance Monkey Tones tonight, and then in a moment, a little bit of Florence and the Machine, You've Got the Love, coming up for us.
So like, very relaxed in the walk, but could have just done with a little more purpose and a bit. It's like they should be marching across and like wanting to take you home. That's a shame in the flying just changed behind you in the turn. And positioning varying. You see the quarters are trying to lead. Phoebe's trying to actually say to him they're not meant to do that. So he's tactfully handling it. Just feels she's not completely in sync together.
Well, don't forget you can vote on Facebook for your favourite Equistro groom. And some great cash prizes and excellent product on offer from Equistro. Phoebe's team watching on as she gets that change.
So their criticism there will be that the horse was croup high, so that's bum high. It was clean, but the horse actually needed not to slightly just put his bum in the air. Because it's, again, it just shows the horse is a lack of engagement. They'd rather put his bum in the air than step under.
Is that almost as bad as being late?
No, well, I'm surprised. No, I don't think it is, because the horse tried and it was clean. I was surprised at the marks. They went 4s. I don't think it's as serious as a fault, because actually it will come. But they've obviously decided it was a more serious fault. I would have been a 5, but they're a 4. But at this level, 1 mark makes a whole difference, doesn't it? So you can see here, it just needs a little bit more, just lightness. And she's like doing her best to say to him, I just need to set you back more on your hind leg and take a half halt. And he slightly just gets a little bit fussy in the mouth when she suggests it. And then that one was short behind. Just the consistency it's been. A lovely transition. And it's just when she brings him back, he just slightly shortens the frame, because he'd rather shorten the neck than actually sit behind sometimes.
Well, Phoebe Locke, a big pat for Picador as they come to the end of their test. And not enough to challenge the leaders, but Phoebe, such a talented young lady. And we've no doubt that she will really be making waves at the top level of the sport for a good number of years. Only 19 years of age, and Picador 16 years of age. So certainly a combination that are learning the ropes together, but Picador showing her the way to a degree at this level of competition. So Phoebe Locke and Picador coming to their final halt, their first halt, I should say, and it got them off to a very good start, as this actually the last combination to go before a short break. Will be plenty to bring you throughout that break, though. And Phoebe, the last of those combinations, will confirm her score in just a second. But let's go down to Hannah and hear Phoebe's thoughts on that test.
Thanks, Nicole. Well, a very interesting story here, actually. Lignières means a lot for this combination. Phoebe, congratulations on your test. Tell us a little bit about Picador and how you acquired him last year.
I'm very lucky to have the opportunity to buy Picador, and we picked him up here last year, and I only had him for a day, and I competed him in the 2-star, and he did really well, and I'm just so lucky to ride a horse like that.
So a 33.1, Phoebe. How are you pleased with that? You're obviously your Event Rider Masters debut as well.
Yeah, I'm pleased with that. He can be very cheeky in the dressage and always throws something in there. He kept quite calm. There's still lots to work on, but I'm very happy with him, yeah.
Hey, Phoebe, you're 19. You make me feel very old. You have a very promising future ahead of you, I'm sure.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Excellent. Thanks,
Brilliant.
Phoebe.
Thank you very much.
A number of very good young British riders that are really making their mark at top level. And she does have to ask the right questions, doesn't she, Mark? Picador doesn't hand it to her on a plate.
No, and I think I'm glad she said it, because I was feeling I was being a bit hideous in commentary to her about him just being a little not always as compliant as he could be. And we can just see here through the little just mistakes. And it just makes me feel better when the rider agrees with me, that's all.
Well, she certainly does. And Phoebe Locke, will look forward to seeing her in the jumping phases tomorrow. But let's take a look at that leaderboard, the first session of dressage. David Dole and Tom Goman, the ones to beat at the moment, 28.5. Oliver Townend, Alcatraz, their first run at this level. And Guireg Lecoz, Esprit de la Loge, a big test in terms of the series, 29.3. And we've just seen Phoebe Locke go into 6th on the leaderboard. But that is how things stand. You guys at home judging along, the SAP Spectator judging up a little bit harder to please than our ground jury here. And if you want to get involved, then you can do so. Download the app for free in your app store. But that is how the leaderboard looks after the first session of dressage. 2 more sessions to bring you in just a few minutes' time. We're coming up to the first break. But Mark, let's just take a moment, because the first 4 came into the arena. The first 4 all went sub 30.
Yeah, they were correct. There was little mistakes, little glitches, and I think that they will be some very good tests later. It's never been so exciting. It's just, that's it. I mean, just another one and another one and another one. But really good riding, really good judging, and I think where we're going with this ground jury, we're going to get some really good low scores.
Absolutely, and I have to admit, my highlight would be David Dole, Mr. Hi-Ho. I thought it was a beautiful test, and also Tom Goman, who was absolutely delighted with a massive personal best for him with Siwo de Cuisse. So that is the first session of dressage. We've got a short event break now before we head into the second session, and it's a session that kicks off with Maxime Livio, the likes of Tom Carlile, the likes of Janelle Price. So definitely keep staying tuned with us. And we've got a special treat for you now, because as we said a little bit earlier on in the show, Bill Levitt, Shannondale Titan have been huge parts of the Event Rider Masters series, and Shannondale Titan, after Mill Street, his retirement from the sport of eventing was announced. So Bill not able to come here as the joint series leader to get any more series points, which unfortunately will most likely take him out of podium contention for the series. But Shannondale Titan has given us a huge amount of pleasure in the Event Rider Masters series over the last 4 years. Let's take a look at a few of their highlights. One of our favourites, if we're allowed to admit to having favourites, comes forward with the Prentice family's Shannondale Titan, Alfie, as he's known to his friends.
Bill Levitt kicking for home, 24 seconds on the clock. He needs to be here in 16 seconds. He's another one that could make this optimum time of 6 minutes and 28 seconds and could take over the lead from Ros Canton.
Well, the time for Bill, absolutely fine. He doesn't need to worry about that, but a super tight turn back to the water tray.
I think when he gets him loose and flowing, then he can really pull on the marks. He can do some really good stuff.
The amount of air he had in the medium trot, it was just superb.
Now, Shannondale Titan, it has an 88% clear jumping record at CIC 3-star level. That's the second most reliable horse in the field. Shannondale Titan will be fast, will be reliable, and he'll be hoping that he can stay up there in that top 5.
Very expressive, very extravagant in his paces. Bill's a consummate professional. He knows his horse well. He knows that the atmosphere is affecting the horse. He's got to just keep this horse fluent and soft.
When you've got a horse with a lot of potential, you've got to try and realise that. And I just didn't quite deliver today, but almost.
Bill is leaving no extra ground as he goes round, keeping all the turns very, very tight, always saving right down the middle of the fences, keeping the horse in a beautiful balance.
Making sure here at the water, yeah, he made a good decision and made sure he got the right distance. Super through there, textbook.
This is a horse that's formerly won Saumur 3-star, went to the World Equestrian Games back in 2014.
Yeah, he's an Irish-bred horse. I think he's by the Holsteiner Limerick, and Limerick has bred a lot of very good jumpers because he is a quick horse cross country.
Yeah, Shannondale Titan, owned by Mike Clare and Anne Prentice. Huge supporters of Bill, the Prentice family, for a number of years.
Hugely experienced, hugely popular rider, 75 CIC 3-star runs. We're actually looking at the 20th CIC 3-star performance from Shannondale Titan, averaging 46.7.
They have the ability to lead this class if they pull out their A game.
Shenandoah Titan, Alfie as he's known at home, 45.2 his starting score.
This horse is really quite flamboyant in his movement. Nose slightly in front of the vertical, poll same height as the withers. Looks relaxed. The march looks good.
Started off confident. He's got a good canter in his horse.
Clear so far as he comes to the final fence. Shenandoah Titan leaves it standing. What a clear round.
Shenandoah Titan's experience is huge. This is their 22nd CIC 3-star run. That's the most in the field.
It's a horse who's finished 4th, 5th and 6th in Event Rider Masters legs, but never on the podium. Bill will be looking to rectify that this year.
Just steadied the horse nicely through the water there between the B and the C element to get a nice jump out.
It isn't easy jumping clear rounds at this level. Jumping the clear rounds and beating the clock, it's a challenge, and that's what the Masters is all about.
37.9 in 12th position after the first 2 phases, and Bill looks like he's motoring on pretty quickly across the country. And he's been in some good form recently, hasn't he, Bill himself? You know, he was 3rd at Tattersalls, went really well at Bramham as well, so there's a lot to like in his confidence levels too.
And you could see there that he was fully aware that that treble would have been short for him. He's very well balanced for a big striding horse for the treble.
Good line to the corner. And you see all of this horse's experience there, Ludwig.
Yeah, but he rode that very well.
Bill's one of the nicest guys on the circuit, and he adores this horse.
Uncle Bill has been part of the scenery for some time, and he's delivered a lot of outstanding results. This horse, Shenandoah Titan, has got the most extravagant hock action. He's like he's pedaling a bicycle, but I mean, it gives him an incredible presence, and you know, he's exciting to watch in the dressage.
And he's just so consistent, this horse. He has such a good hind leg, doesn't he?
Well, if you just look at the hind leg, you can see all the activity and the extension and things like that. That's where you really should be looking, shouldn't you?
Yeah, exactly. And you're drawn to it. And this horse is an example of a horse that actually uses his hind leg. So here we go now. How it steps under, and he pushes off, and it steps under the body, comes under him.
But if we go to Bill Levitt at the SAP brush corners right at the top end of the course, and easily clear through both of those. This horse so experienced. Bill working pretty hard away from there, kicking towards home.
You're looking at one of the most, certainly the most experienced horse in the field at this level. 36 times Shenandoah Titan has previously been out in a 4-star short, and going again today, Bill Levitt 130. We've been waiting for him to put everything together on one day, all across the Event Rider Masters.
Horse that has been such a wonderful servant to him.
This really is sporting at its very, very best. Bill Levitt, the champagne is going to flow tonight. High five to that. Yes. 14 Event Rider Masters in your first podium. How does it feel?
No, I'm just really pleased for the horse. He gave me everything out there today.
Oh, I have to admit, one of my favourite Shenandoah Titan memories would be that podium in our field last year, because it was just absolutely brilliant. Bill has been so close so many times, Mark, but that day he delivered.
He did, and then but this year we've had the flags and the little blips as well, you know.
But he has been so consistent. You know, he's a horse that you can come out and you know he's going to do a good dressage. He's more than likely to jump clear in the show jumping. And actually, most of the time, he does jump clear cross country as well.
It does, but I think actually the whole thing about, we're going about the grooms, the management of that horse for that number of runs at this level, and to make it through this age, I mean, a huge
credit to
massively.
The Prentice family who own the horse, the Levitt family who have managed him so carefully. He will be sadly missed in the Event Rider Masters series, but we wish Shenandoah Titan a very happy retirement. Thank you for being part of the Event Rider Masters series, and we hope Bill will be back in 2020 as well. We've no doubt that he will be. So that is Shenandoah Titan. Bill Levitt not here to add series points here this weekend. But before we go into the next session of dressage here in Lignières, let's go and hear from Hannah, who's with the event director here in Lignières.
Well, thanks, Nicole. We all know it's the first time the Event Rider Masters has been here to Lignières-en-Berry, and I'm delighted to be joined by Emmanuel Lagarde, who is the event director here. Emmanuel, it's not only the first time we've had the Event Rider Masters here, but it's the first time you've run a 4-star event. It's exciting times for you.
Yes, Anna, it's a very fantastic day, fantastic weekend for us. Lignières is just a little town. There is 1,500 persons who live in Lignières, so when you put off the young babies and the older of them, all the people are Lignières. They are in my team. They are very happy to do the job, to organize this event and to be there with ERM.
We all know the region and Lignières have been so supportive and so excited about bringing the Event Rider Masters final here. What is it about eventing that gets people so excited in this region?
I don't know, but all the riders have a smile. It's very important for us, and our pleasure here is their smile. And you, with the ERM series, you organize very modern event with a lot of options. The series are very interesting, exciting, and so I think together we make a good job.
Well, it's certainly going to be a fantastic weekend. The competition has begun and it's the very best in the world. It's an exciting weekend.
Next time for you and me is World Championship.
Well, watch this space. Emmanuel, thank you very much for having us and thank you for talking to me.
Thank you, thank you.
He is a really, really brilliant character. And it has made everybody feel exceptionally welcome here in Lignières. We're delighted to be here. It is a brilliant venue for the final leg of 2019. You can absolutely see why it is a firm favourite of the likes of Team Price, Tim and Janelle. Ros Cantor has been to Lignières many a time before. And it's a kind of an end-of-season feel almost about it, Mark.
It has, and I think that will be proven tomorrow night at the party they're throwing for us all. So I think everyone's quite relaxed, aren't they?
It is a fairly relaxed event, and actually that is counteracted by the fact that this is one of the most high-pressure situations that some of these riders will have been in this year. Chris Burton is going to be heading out on the cross-country tomorrow with almost £50,000 probably on the line on one cross-country round. That is a huge amount of money in eventing, and it promises to mean that we get an incredible show as well. Well, we've got another session of dressage next to come forward, and it is 5 of the very best. Maxime Livio will be getting us underway with Appy du Lubet, a new ride at the level for him this year, and looking forward to seeing them. They'll be first to go. Tom Carlile, who's the only rider to have won 3 Event Rider Masters legs, all with the great Upsilon, comes forward with a horse that has only run at this level once before, was 4th in the Nations Cup at Haradupam a little bit earlier on this summer. Atos Barbotier is his ride here. Janelle Price, Gravine Darev, watch out for them, and it's going to be a big moment because Janelle needs series points here. If she can go ahead of Gireg Lacoste and Esprit de la Loge, then that would be a huge moment for her. 29.3 Gireg's score. Kazuma Tomoto has actually withdrawn, so he will not be coming forward to the dressage, but Tina Cooke, Billy the Red, one of the most experienced combinations in the field. The horse only a 12-year-old, but has been to the World Games, has been to 2 European Championships as well, and definitely ones that can get a little bit tense in the dressage, but also can put in an exceptional test as well. Arnaud Boiteau and Coriano were 5th in Jardy a little bit earlier on this year in leg 4, and a combination particularly to keep an eye out for in the jumping phases. The final session of dressage comes forward at 12:15 Central European time, and that includes the likes of Michael Young, Sarah Cohen, Gemma Tattersall, Chris Burton, Tim Price and Alex Bragg as well. Look at those names. Christine Bates, Adelaide Hill, they've won at this level more times. As a combination, the horse has won more times than any other horse in the field. 3 victories at this level previously, so they should not be discounted at all. They're making their Event Rider Masters debut here this weekend. So big names coming through throughout the competition. And in this second session, I have to admit, I'm particularly looking forward to Janelle Price, Mark Gravine Darev. Janelle is 1 point behind Gireg Lacoste in the series standings. She's 67 points. He has 68. Chris Burton, the one to beat, with 73. Now, how important is it for her to really get that first phase off to a good start?
Well, I think if she watched Gireg this morning, he left her some room. And Janelle doesn't need anybody to give her much room, does she? You know?
Nope, she will be taking
She'll
every
pounce.
advantage of that. So watch this space for Janelle a little bit later on. But here comes Maxime Livio. Maxime, who rides Appy du Lubert. This is a horse that has only one run at the level previously, owned by Anne Grimaud, and was clear cross country on his debut at the level in Sopot just last month. So relatively inexperienced, the horse, but Maxime hugely experienced, a 5-star winner, and was part of that French team at the World Equestrian Games last year that secured Olympic qualification and won a team bronze as well. That was with Opium de Verrières, finished in 11th place individually. But Maxime certainly looking to make an impression here. His best ever Event Rider Masters placing was 6th at Bramham 2016, and that was on Picador, the horse that actually we saw Phoebe Locke come forward on just before the break. What goes through your mind, Mark? You're coming around the outside of the arena, you're waiting for the bell, for the horn, whatever it may be, to allow you to enter it.
Well, sometimes like then he was probably thinking, will they hurry up and ring the bell? It's just keeping actually everything from that. And it's great here because they come from the warm-up arena. Their 10-minute box is literally just beside. So actually the horses don't get that disturbed because actually they've acclimatized. And you're just hoping that actually everything is going to come to plan. And having a quick sort of recap of where you're going to turn. I always think it's which way you're going to turn. That's normally the first. But the horse had a very good halt. You can see the potential in this horse's movement.
He's got a real look at me, hasn't he?
It has. And the medium trot was very, very good, but it just went a little onto his forehand. But it's all, I don't know how old he is, Nicole.
Only a 9-year-old.
Right. So I would expect this horse with strength, the medium trots that we're going to highlight, it just the balance went onto his forehand a little bit, but it was very expressive. And that's why it's not in the 9s and 10 range. It's a very positively forward. The French ride their dressage tests very similar to how they ride their cross country. It's quite forward and bold. And like they're going for the marks. There wasn't a lot of difference from that meet to that extended trot from his first medium. The judges will remember that. The halt could have been more secure. So that would indicate there is some underlying tension, I would say, because the halt was quite fragile. And like there, this horse has lovely cadence and lightness and a willingness, and very good in the bend. I just would like his nose to be a little bit more consistently forward to get into. I could get into the 9s with this horse, even 10s.
Well, he's certainly got a very impressive trending score on the card so far.
And completely rightly so, but I'm sure they'd be thinking actually in another year or two, this is going to get, is a horse that has 10s in it. It's quite exciting that we're seeing horses for the future as well, isn't it?
It absolutely is. And Maxime will no doubt be bidding for a place on the French team at the Tokyo 2020 Olympics next year. And this is a horse that he's still actually only getting to know. Took on the ride in the middle of the summer from Baptiste Saloon, who produced the horse up to 3-star level.
So the walk was a little bit, there was some tension creeping in, but you could see his professionalism, how he just slightly just cajoled the horse just to tactfully get into canter. I have a fear there's some tension creeping into the horse here. Can you see his head's getting a little bit lower and his bum's coming a little bit higher. And it looks like Maxime's having to just tactfully ride through the serpentine. And this is the moment for this. Okay, and that change was a very nice change. A little bit on the forehand. But it was very obedient. I think he'd like to be able to ride this a little bit braver in the canter. That would have been one of the most cautious medium trot canters we've had this morning.
But again, this horse only, a 9-year-old at this level on one occasion previously. So
Yeah.
it is still fairly new for the horse.
Oh, totally. I mean, this horse is so much ability and so much talent, but just needs to take a little bit of a breath, I think, for the canter to get the same marks he was getting out of the trot. See, like there, the nose just draws back a little bit. But I mean, I am lucky enough to be able to commentating on why they're not going 9s and 10s rather than why they're on 5s and 6s. That was a very expressive change. You know, and I feel like people mustn't think I'm just being horrible about everything. I'm not. It's just I'm here to see with a critique.
Well, this is absolutely one of the best tests that we have seen so far today. Maxime, Livio, Apidulubert on track to take over at the top of the leaderboard here. Just need to come down and get this final halt and salute to our ground jury. But this is an exceptionally talented young horse, and Maxime, such a professional as well. A lovely square halt to finish, and he will be delighted with that because that is going to be a massive personal best for the horse. Previous best 31.3 at the level below, and you can see just how delighted he is. The horse, Mark, there's room for improvement there. Only a 9-year-old, second run at the level, but still going out into the lead by some margin.
But the room for improvement is only with experience and more carrying strength, because a 9-year-old, he's still not finished muscularly. You know, you think in a year's time, think Olympic Games, where this horse has got so much more to offer. And the French are very, very lucky with Jureg as well, with his 9-year-old.
And Tom Carlyle, who comes forward next, has a very talented young 9-year-old too. So the French looking very strong in their depth of young talent. Maxime, Livio, Apidulubert absolutely putting in a superb performance there. 6-run average for the horse, 31.9 on Echo Ratings numbers. So definitely performing above that, 25.1. And actually, that is a personal best for Maxime Livio at this level of the sport. And he does it on a 9-year-old on only the horse's second run at this level. That is an incredible performance, and I'm sure he will be absolutely delighted with that. Maxime Livio, the new leader here, 25.1. A personal best at the level for Maxime, and a personal best by some margin for the horse. What a performance from the young Frenchman. That is really one of the highlights of the day so far. Hannah, I imagine Maxime is going to be delighted with that one.
Maxime, a 9-year-old horse and a personal best for you. Like, what a test that was.
Yeah, I'm very happy for happy. I mean, I have that horse since 3 months only, and it's my third test with him, and I was feeling a few days ago that everything started to be okay together, and so I put a lot of pressure on myself so as to ride him well enough to show that progression. But I'm very happy, and I think he can show a test with more energy than what he did, but it was a very good, secure test, and I'm very happy with that.
Being only 9, there's still room for improvement. He's got a long way to go, but you know, that's an exceptional test in itself.
Yeah. No, but I'm really happy. We bought that horse, and we know all the quality he have and what he can do. But you know, you can have the feeling, but one day you have to prove what you feel or what you think about your horse. And so I'm very happy that he start to show what is possible with him.
Well, you've certainly proved it today. Congratulations, Maxime.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Well, Maxime Livio, the one to beat here with Apidulubert as next to come forward. It is Tom Carlyle, the only rider to have 3 Event Rider Masters wins under his belt, and he did it all on the same horse. Michael Young Star Connection could do that if they win here this weekend. But this is a younger horse for him, Athos Barbotier. And again, only a 9-year-old, a horse that actually finished 4th on his debut at the level in the Nations Cup in Hiradupan.
A very good start again. First horse we've seen in a double bridle today. Don't see double bridles very often, but normally it just helps with a little bit of, help the horse be a little bit lighter. It's more like fitting some ABS brakes, just to help the lightness of some horses get a little bit onto your hand. And it keeps the horse a little bit lighter. I like the suppleness in the shoulder in, but sadly not into the half pass. But very lovely cadence, lovely steps. These French horses are so quality, aren't they?
They've got a lot of very nice horses and some very talented jockeys coming through, Mark.
Must be an awful job thinking you're a French selector right now.
And they are the defending champions for the team gold medal going into Tokyo, having won in Rio.
I think the French selectors will winter well, I would say. Very, very, very good halt. And then the rein back just lost fluency. Started well. just green little things there, really. So like there, you could just see it could have been steadier in the contact. But Thomas there is actually like saying to the horse and saying to the judges, look, my horse is supple, he can bend. The horse has already very, very high quality walk. Where event horses have improved over the last like 5 years is they all walk. We used to get most event horses couldn't walk. But I think it's because of their training and the way they ride, they're more connected, that actually they're much more through and mentally relaxed.
Do you think the type of horse has changed also?
Well, the French, I suppose, have always had this type, haven't they? They're very passionate about their own Francais breeding, and I just think the riding has changed. That was a very nice transition there. So here it just sets up for this half pass here. And so you would like him to be a little more settled in the contact to get onto the 8s. Thomas is there saying to him, just have a little bit of softness, and the horse is like, not prepared to give you 100%. But you see, the horse is so naturally uphill. I just hope he's not going to be too tense for a flying change. No, perfect.
Perfect.
Well, he just perfect, and I'm saying perfect from the rider. He balanced the horse, he brought the horse back, and just waited. It's all about the timing, and he waited. And he's used to riding under this sort of pressure. So some of the more less experienced riders panic at those moments, but he doesn't. That's why he's won 3 Event Master legs, isn't it?
It is, and he was the Event Rider Masters record dressage holder for a good while with Upsilon, but actually that was beaten by Ingrid Klimke at Wiesbaden in this year.
So the bend there could be more consistent. It's difficult when you have a horse with a white face as well. It really does show to the judges how much bend you've got. You can't disguise it because the white face highlights it. So that was very good. That was a very good shot there of the horse's mouth, which actually they will notice. So you can see he was just opening the mouth and trying to get onto his hand a little bit. Very nice change again. The nose could just be a little bit more forward. The neck just come in a little bit short at times. But again, this is why it's not into the massive 9s and 10s. So like they're lovely but because the neck just needs to be more out to get into the big mark. See, like as he brought the horse back, he just shortened the frame, didn't stay out to the bridle. But again, another super test.
Well, another super test and another super test from France. Tom Carlile and Athos Barbotsier absolutely performing 28.2, a personal best at the level for the horse, and an 8 for that final halt from our judge at E, Andrew Benny. But Tom Carlile goes most likely into second place. We'll wait for his score to be confirmed, but a really, really good start from the young Frenchman. Well, he will be, I'm sure, absolutely delighted with that. A horse that only stepped up to the level at the Nations Cup in Harad-Pan last time out and only lost the win on that occasion with an unlucky pole rolled in the show jumping. A horse that actually won here in Lignières last year and was actually finished on their dressage score here 12 months ago. Stepping up a level this time. But Tom Carlile, a lovely final halt to our ground jury. 27.7 goes second on the leaderboard. And it is at the moment, how low can you go on the scoreboard? Because we are seeing some exceptional scores so far. The average from the first 7 riders coming in from Echo Ratings, 29.3. And that actually, in comparison to their 6-run average scores, is 2.9 penalties better. So into second, Tom Carlile. Hannah, good to have Tom back in the Event Rider Masters series.
Yes, isn't it, Nicole? He's such a character. He's just having a quick chat with one of his coaches at the moment, but we'll try and get a word from him, Thomas, if you can. Thomas, 27.7. Fantastic score. You must be really pleased.
Yeah, making a comeback.
We haven't seen you for a little while. Sadly, Upsilon's been unwell, but it's great to see you here, and everything seems to be going well. Are you pleased with that? Is that what you were expecting?
Yeah, no, I've been really frustrated all year. I mean, what's happened to Upsilon's really sad and has been really hard on us and the whole team. But you know, I've got a nice string of young horses coming through, and I've been eager to bring them to this level because I'm an absolute fan of the Event Rider Masters, and finally make one leg this year. Hopefully next year I should be able to do them all. But yeah, no, I've been really happy. Athos, he's still quite a young horse, relatively young. He's got great potential. And yeah, no, he's just about where I wanted him. So I'm really pleased.
Fantastic, Tom. Congratulations. Well, you were so successful on Upsilon in the Event Rider Masters. So we look forward to having you back next year a lot more.
It is good to have him back in the series. He is, as Hannah says, always a character. And he's always competitive as well. Like he says, he's got a number of very good young horses. He would not be bringing this horse here if he didn't feel that he could be competitive. And don't forget, you can vote for your Equistro groom. You can just see Alice in the side of the camera shot there. She's got her Equistro goodies. And you can vote on the Facebook page. Go to Event Rider Masters on the Facebook page and make sure you vote. €250, the cash prize to the winning groom here this weekend, and some cash prizes down the order, as well as lots of Equistro goodies. So make sure you vote for the unsung heroes of our sport. They do a brilliant job, and we're very grateful to each and every one of them. Now, next to come forward, this is a huge moment for the series challenge, because it is Janelle Price. And it is Gravine Derev, the horse that she brings forward, owned by Therese Miller, Terry Hunt and Joe Preston Hunt. Philip Hunt and Joe Preston Hunt, apologies. But Gravine Derev, a horse that has had 2 top 10 finishes so far this year in the Event Rider Masters series, actually went to Campfire for the long format 4-star and picked up their Olympic qualification there as well. So Janelle Price in 4th place on the series leaderboard, 67 points on the card, just 6 points shy of Chris Burton, and just having a slightly tricky moment on the outside of the arena mark. What goes through your mind now? Because she's got to get it back together pretty quickly. Jingling. There is quite a breeze. The sun has just come out here.
I'm thinking there we've got the flagpoles jingling in the background, and actually that can really upset a lot of horses. I think the judge was really nice and actually didn't ring her bell and let her have that moment, because they've all ridden at this level, so they understand what goes on. You meet some judges that don't really ride, and they're a little less human. And so hopefully he's not going to have a thing about this end of the arena.
Well, 28.7 was their score in Jardy when finishing 6th. And that is their personal best as a combination. Only 3 international runs as a combination.
So this will be interesting in the move off, because he's got to come down this end that he's taken a little dislike to. You see the wind just got up, hasn't it? So she'll be happy that she made that turn and she gets away from that end of the arena. So the medium trot could have just gone a little more to the end. Started to lose some power on the 3/4 line. And your worry is that it's set in the judges' minds that your horse might be a little bit tense. So it's down to Janelle to actually prove it's not. So actually the marks are coming. Very good shoulder in. A little more bend. But it's not so easy when they have the spook at one end of the school when he's half passing towards the judges. But to be fair, he looks like he's got within the boards and he's become a professional himself. And he's like here to do his job. So you can hear on this, I don't know if you can hear on that sand, but you can hear the steps are quite heavy, so you need a little bit more engagement behind and a little bit more lightness in his steps for the big mark. Holt could be more square. you know, and slightly could have lifted his legs a little more in the rein back, slightly dragging back, but was obedient. So very nice rhythm in that shoulder in and very well positioned and fluent to the half pass. The bend to the half pass left is better than the half pass right. So it should be a bigger mark than from the previous rein.
Well, it's worth noting as well that Gireg Lacoste, who is just 1 point ahead of Janelle in the series, is on a score of 29.3. So Janelle would love to be just in front of him, at least in the dressage. And at the moment, it is 0.1 behind him.
And Derm's prediction was right. He said it was going to be cat and mouse with those two. So the walk was very relaxed. Could have a little more purpose to get to the 8s, I would say. But really, it's this sequence of the test now with the canter and the flying changes that is what's going to seal this test or put Janelle where she needs to be front ahead of Gireg. There's a little more jump in the canter. It's a little bit flat in the steps. And you can just see there's some unsettledness going on in the mouth, which is probably due to this slight fright he had at the beginning. It could just be a bit more expressive in the canter, but if he's holding his breath, Janelle will not be able to ask any more than she's getting. So this first indication here where we see the flying change. It was late behind. So I think it's because she's having to be quite tactful with the canter and can't ask for as much as she wants, energy and engagement. So imagine up there, riding it, she'll be a little bit disappointed that she can't actually ask the horse anymore. But it's just like us. Sometimes it's just how you get out of bed. And sadly, sometimes the horse didn't read the agenda of what was meant to happen today.
Well, this is still a very good score. She's still sub 30 at the moment. She really wants to bring that penalty score. Remember, Gireg Lacoste at 29.3 with Esprit de la Loge. If Janelle Price goes ahead of Gireg Lacoste, then that is a very big, important moment for Janelle in terms of series ranking points here.
But she needs to nail this flying change, and then, because if she doesn't, it's going to plummet. But he's looking more rideable in this Serpentine. He's got a little bit more ground cover. She's like there. She's just pushing him a little more forward, getting him a bit more up in the front, getting him more from behind. And then she had a clean change. So it's all because of the quality of that chain, the canter, how he enabled her to ride it. And now I would imagine she's going to go for bust now. This could do with more suppleness through that. It's a hideous movement is these galloping around half circles. Makes you feel like you're riding a motorbike. That's where the surface helps. If it was on grass, you can't be so brave.
Well, Janelle Price coming down the final centre line. It's an important test for the Series Challenge in 2019. Gravin de Rêve should just sneak ahead of Gireg Lacoste, Esprit de la Loge, but my goodness, it is neck and neck. 8s across the board, and that is a huge test for Janelle Price. She wants to get on the series podium for the second time in her career, and Gravin de Rêve has been exceptionally good for her in the 2019 series. Well, Janelle, Mark, she did a great job there in trying to squeeze every single mark that she could out of the judges.
And she did, especially from that beginning, when she'd be thinking, I was in a zone, I was in the right place, and now actually everything starts to unravel. I think she'll be very pleased from what she thought might be happening in that test.
Well, I think that is a strike one to Janelle Price. 28.4 goes into third on the leaderboard, and importantly she puts Gireg Lacoste a little bit further behind her. She needs to finish ahead of him to overtake him on the series podium, and she's certainly done everything that she can in the first phase, and I think I'm going to say that is a personal best at this level for the horse as well. Hannah, I think Janelle's done all she can do in the first phase. Can she hold on?
Well, if it was a battle of blows, it's certainly first blow to Janelle. That was exactly what she needed to do to sneak ahead of Jareg in this competition, which is it's tight, isn't it, Janelle?
Well, it is, but that's what we've become accustomed to, and you've got to deliver when it counts. And you know, he hasn't got any high marks yet, but you know, I thought he came and put his best foot forward today. Hopefully, in the future, we can find a few more marks, but happy for now.
A personal best, I believe, for the horse at this level, isn't it?
Well, you probably know more than me, I'm afraid. But, you know, look, you mark these things yourself, basically. And I didn't have the best ride this morning. He was a little bit of a cheeky brat in here this morning. But I'm pleased he put his game face on and came and did some nice work.
Tim's here. He's obviously coming out to ride earlier. Tim, how you stood, you watched Janelle. From our point of view, she did exactly what she needed to do to sort of take that first blow ahead of Jareg. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, she handled him brilliantly because did you see him on the outside? He had a wee moment or two there, and you've only got a certain amount of time on the outside, and you used that wisely and went in, and I thought it was a good job. Yeah, he was good.
That was a compliment. I like that. So, okay, so let's turn the tables a bit. You've been nice about Janelle. That was a fantastic test, Janelle. What does Tim need to do?
Well, he's on a very beautiful, very talented grey mare that I produce. So, you know, it's very well trained. And no, he's done a fantastic job. But he certainly is one capable that could go low 20s. I think we're going to see some very good scores today, and let's hope he's one of them.
Well, we'd like you both on a podium, probably you on the series podium, and Tim, you on the leg podium. How about that?
Oh, that'd be good just to, you know, get one of these great legs right just the once will be fine for me.
I think you guys do a perfectly good job. Congratulations, Janelle, and best of luck, Tim.
Well, that is Janelle Price and Tim Price, who will see Tim actually coming forward, the penultimate rider to go at 12:53. So Tim will be the penultimate rider to come forward. But Janelle did a great job there with Gravine Darev. And actually just a short break in the running order now, because this is where Kazuma Tomoto, Vinci de Lavine would have been coming forward in their test. So Tina Cooke next to come forward. She's due in the arena in around 3 minutes time, which actually just gives us a moment to actually review all of the action so far. Series battle, Mark. We've seen those two closest to Chris Burton come forward. Janelle gets the first strike in.
She gets first strike in. Is it enough, though? Because it's not. I think Janelle. She's good on camera. She's good on camera, but I think she knows she could have had more of a lead.
She is only 1 point behind Jareg in the series standing. She's on 67, and Jareg is on 68. So it is 1 point. That is it.
It depends what the time does out there, doesn't it, actually, is what it all boils down to in the cross-country. And I also do think it's where Tim, who's a bit of a wild card in there for Janelle, on the podium and the league, and because it's not going to matter overall for Tim in the overall, but I think in this leg, he could help his wife, I would say.
I think that's the important thing as well, isn't it? Because likewise with Chris Burton, if a few people can finish ahead of them, actually the way the points are distributed, it can make a massive difference.
You know, and you've got Gemma in there as well that could go and mix. It's just who ends up on that podium for this leg, I think could be very interesting in the whole maths. And it's like she's brought Tim along just to slightly help herself.
She's got an extra card to play. Well, I'm sure Tim will be looking for his second leg win of 2019 because Wesco was on top of the podium in Arville. Well, next to come forward, it is Tina Cooke and Billy the Red. This a 12-year-old by Ballad de Rouet, and a horse that actually has had a huge amount of experience at top level. Was individually top 10 at the World Equestrian Games last year in Tryon. Was top 5 individually and part of the team gold at the Europeans in 2017 and part of the team silver medal for Team GB in 2019. And that actually is perhaps why we're seeing Billy the Red out again this season, because he was a little bit naughty and had 20 penalties on the cross country, which was very out of character for the horse. So Tina actually looking to finish her 2019 season on a really strong note. And this will be a competition that The British selectors, Chris Bartle, Dickie Waygood, and the whole team behind the British selectors will be watching very, very carefully. It's a horse, Mark, that can be a little bit hot in the dressage. Ballot de Rouet has sired a number of very good event horses. Some of them can be a little tricky in this phase, but Tina is an absolute master. And actually, I think conditions would suit him today.
I think environment. But Tina, when it matters with this horse, he's had some very, like Simon at Belton, and he was a horror. And, you know, I think they have the management of him. But when it's mattered, this horse has always actually done a good test. And I think she's come here to prove a point from the Europeans, where he had a very good dressage test at the Europeans. You know, very good start. The horse is lovely and light on his feet. You know, a very good transition back there. You know, and Tina just rides him in a lovely balance and is lovely and forward. You know, this, for me, this horse has potential at the moment to actually go into the lead, because actually he has everything as long as his brains come to the party. It's very smooth in the half passes. That was beautiful there. Just there was a slight glitch in the balance over the centre line, which sometimes in the sand arenas where they halt and they do quite a lot of work, you get little holes. So I think that was very tactfully ridden, so he's getting a bit hot there. The halt was barely non-existent. He started the rein back without her, but she just let it happen, because that's what he does. It's the standing stills he doesn't normally like. And to be fair, most event horses don't like standing still, because they've got to get on with life. So we just had that tension through the halt and the rein back that's just made the mark slip, sadly.
Chris and Lisa Stone have been huge parts of the Event Rider Masters series watching on. They actually own Gemma Tattersall's horse, Jalapeno, who she'll be coming forward on a little bit later on.
So the walk, she's just been very tactful with that walk. It could do with more ground cover, but it's true in sequence, clear 4-beat walk, but just a little lacking purpose here. It looks like he's slightly walking on eggshells. So it's very tactful through that transition there. It's just getting a little bit bubbly, I would say. Tina's got the same music as Phoebe. She's shown she's not that old.
I won't mention to Tina that you.
That I'm impressed with her. Her youth. It's probably her children. I would imagine her children.
I'd be very careful. Thin ice, Mark Ruddock. Thin ice.
So that change wasn't on the aid. So I would just say he's not as relaxed as he could be today. You can just say, just start to shorten the neck a touch.
You can absolutely see, you know, this horse, so much talent. He's just he's got those few little quirks, which
makes him an amazing horse,
but can also be very costly.
Yeah, and you could see, like, through that, as she came back off that medium canter, how his neck shortened, and he didn't really want to take the weight back. Obviously, that's why the judge at the side is there to see that. The long side judges don't really see the frame too much. That's why we have a side judge, so they're more like about the frame. And that's why you sometimes get the differences in the marks, because the side judge sees frames, where the C judge pleases centre line, and the other judge can see the angles more.
Well, they're absolutely still putting in a very, very solid performance. Their 6-run average on Echo Ratings numbers 28.4.
Okay, it was on the aid, but it was quite explosive to her leg. It's just showing, he's having a lovely time though. Look at his ears.
He's a horse that absolutely loves his job, and whatever he starts on in this phase, he is 100% capable of finishing on it. Has only rolled 2 poles in the show jumping in his last 20 international runs.
Yeah.
So he's exceptionally talented in the jumping phases as well. And this is still a very, very good performance from Tina Cooke and Billy the Red. should see them go into around 8th place. A lovely final halt. Tina Cooke and Billy the Red here. They've been top 10 Event Rider Masters leg before at Barbary last summer. And Tina, 100% clear jumping record from her 3 Event Rider Masters appearances. So Tina Cooke, Billy the Red. And it is going to be another sub-30 score. Should be well in touch with their ECHA rating 6-run average of 28.4 once that score is confirmed. And I think, Mark, Tina showed just all of those championship appearances, just all of those medals that she's won, because she knows how to ride this horse and she's very tactful with it.
She did, and it was like through here in this replay. He was never going to halt. She wasn't going to make a thing about it because I've seen him stand up and stuff, and, you know, and she sacrificed that to actually not let him boil over, you know, and it was just, you can see how she knows him so well. And that's why he can get the super mark, so when he completely lets her in.
He absolutely can, but it is still a very respectable starting score. And Tina Cooke will confirm her test in just a moment, but we've pulled him out of ECHA ratings corner, 28.5. Billy the Red Dam, almost bang on her 6-run average. Well, we'll come back to Durham in just a second, but basically we were saying that ECHA ratings were right on track here. Billy the Red, 28.5. You guys at home actually putting her a little bit further up your SAP spectator judging leaderboard. You would have had her in third, 29.1. But Tina Cooke and Billy the Red, let's go and hear Tina's thoughts on that test with Hannah.
Well, let's try and get a word with Tina. Just getting Billy the Red out of the way. As you know, Nicole, he can be a little bit of a cheeky monster. So Groom Rachel just taking him away there. Tina, it's lovely to have you back. Yes. How was your test? You know, you've had a mixed few weeks, obviously, but it's great to have you here. And a 28.5, which I am told is on track with your 6-run average.
Okay, it's quite atmospheric down here. And I felt, actually, I was quite pleased with a lot of it. I felt like I missed definitely one of my changes, which is annoying because we have got those, a little bit of tension come in. But I thought a lot of the work he did was very nice. So I suppose I'm a little bit disappointed. He felt quite relaxed. He's quite a bright, buzzy sort of horse, and he did take a breath and he did relax. And then he realised where he was and then he relaxed again. So I was pleased from that point of view because normally he does his whole test and holds his breath the whole time.
He is a phenomenal jumper, we know that. So looking ahead for tomorrow, that is going to push you up the rankings.
Yeah, he has an amazing record show jumping. Europeans and World Championships, he's jumped clear. So the pressure's on me to make sure I get it right.
Best of luck, Tina.
Thank you.
Well, now coming forward for the home nation, it is Anna Boito and Quariano. Combination who were actually 5th in Jardy a little bit earlier on this year. And they are, again, a combination really ones to watch in the jumping phases. If you are just joining us, then in the studio with me, Mark Ruddock, our dressage expert, and from ECHA ratings, Durham Byrne as well.
So the test started with the horse really swishing his tail as he came down the centre line, which judges don't like because it's showing a sign of resistance. Then it was quite nice, and then we had a disturbance in the half pass, which would just indicates the tension of the horse that he went into canter, because the aids for the half pass are very similar to a canter transition, and the horse is slightly like there, just not really with him. And you can see he's just showing signs of tension with his mouth and the tail. You know, as judges, you don't mind tails as long as there's no other signs, but actually the mouth is sort of indicating, and some of the little glitches that we've had already in the rhythm and the disturbance. That shoulder in was too wide in the angle. You know, and you can see here is just unsettled, just not letting him in. And the walk there is just a little bit holding his breath. Doesn't really relax and taking the neck forward enough. So here you can see the horse is just fussy in his mouth and actually just slightly tilting and not actually willing to take the bit forward. You know, it just shows tension. And it's interesting, Tina had said there's quite a lot of atmosphere, because I thought it was quite a big arena. Sometimes the bigger arenas have less atmosphere, but we'll let Tina know what she's talking about.
I think she's qualified, Mark.
We'll allow her that one. So here you can see like he is just about to lose some of the sequence in the walk through the tension just before the transition. So we hope that the canter is going to settle the horse. We can see here he's not really waiting. There's lack of bend. And the tail. It's sort of like angsty. Word for this horse. Tetchy. Is it a mare or a gelding? Not that I'm being sexist.
Gelding.
Gelding. So actually he rode that change in a completely different line to everybody else, but actually it was quite clever riding. But he actually got the change. You can just see here, it's tightness in the back, which is the tension behind the saddle, that then causes the tail to swish. And you see then it comes out in front, we've got a little tilt and it's not as supple on that circle. But they're quite liking the things in between. They're giving him really good marks, and the trending mark is, I'm surprised it's so good. I think they're in a particularly good mood. I'm surprised at this score.
Do you think that is on track, though, with other tests that we've seen so far today, Mark?
No, because I think this is the worst, not been horrible, this is the worst test we've seen.
Well, Arno will be delighted that you're not on the ground jury, Mark.
Oh, no.
In terms of how it's shaping up, better change, Mark.
No, that one was late, that one.
Was it? I must have blinked. There we go.
But yeah, I am just surprised when I compare it to Phoebe's. I would have had it on the same sort of score as Phoebe's.
Well, Phoebe Locke, who came forward a little bit earlier on. But Arno Boito. There's a horse, again, that is very good in the jumping phases. So if he's in touch in the jumping, then it is one that can really climb the leaderboard. And he salutes to our ground jury. This is going to be about on track with where he scored in Jardy. How are the equa ratings numbers stacking up thus far?
How low can you go, Nicole? It's going to be one of the lowest dressage averages that we've had in the history of the Event Rider Masters. Wiesbaden this year, and don't forget that included Ingrid Klimke's record-breaking test, and of course Julia in around the 20 mark as well. That ended up as 27.6 average. We're averaging sub 29, and the big news, Nicole, of course, is we have, as you mentioned, all of those previous winners coming after the break. We're about 3 marks ahead of where these people are averaging. Some of them are going to be better. Some of them are going to be worse on average. But when you see something like a swing of 3 marks across every test, it means you're going to have to start thinking about, I would say, Star Connection, who we're going to see after the break. They should be looking somewhere like a 24, 23 even. So it's going to get very low, I suggest.
Well, we will be watching this space because we have got 7 of the best coming forward after this final break. But we have just got a few moments to reflect. Arno Boito, we're going to hear from him in a second, but he is going into sub-30 territory. There we go, 29.8, so just sneaks inside of the top 10. And actually, that means we've got quite a number. 9 of them so far, sub-30. And of course, it's still all of those big names to come. Let's go and hear Arno's thoughts on that test with Hannah.
Arno, just inside 30, 29.8. Were you pleased with that?
Not really. It's 9th place at this time, so the other ones are very good today. So I know my horse is not so easy on the dressage test, but he can be better sometimes. He was a bit tense at the trot part. I think he was better on the canter, and but no, it's not too bad.
Do you think it was the atmosphere? There are a few people watching, the music, there's a lot going on, and we're slightly lower here with banks around.
Yeah, for sure, but he's not a very tense horse and stressed horse, so it's probably because of that, but in the usual times, this horse is not so tense about that, so that's probably not the first reason.
All right, well, best of luck tomorrow, Arno.
Thank you.
Well, he goes inside the top 10 and 29.8, a very respectable score in the first of the phases for Arno. As we'll take a look at the leg leaderboard in just a second, because this is going to be how things stand at the moment. The sun is coming out here, the clouds are a little bit disappearing, but that superb test, a personal best at the level for Maxime Livio. Happy Dulibert leads the French 1-2 at the moment. Tom Carlile, who's won more Event Rider Masters legs than any other rider. Athos Barbotier currently sitting in second. David Dole, a brilliant test with Mr. Hi-Ho, equal with Tom Goman making his Event Rider Masters debut. But look at that. Janelle Price, Gravine Darev, 28.5 and 2 places at the moment ahead of Gireg Lecoz and Esprit de la Loge. Phoebe Locke, Picador, 33.3. That is how close it is, because 33.3 is still a very respectable score. That sees her sit just outside the top 10 at the moment. Now let's take a few seconds, Mark, to just review what we've seen thus far. First of all, let's talk about Maxime Livio's test, because Happy Dulibert, inexperienced at the level, only one previous run, and he put in an absolutely stunning performance.
It was a horse with amazing athleticism, stunningly ridden, and still more to come. And I think from a judge's point of view, they're really exciting to judge those horses when you're like, soon, next year, I'm going to be going 9s, I'm going to be going 10s, because look at that expression.
What was it about the test that really sees him out in front on 25.1?
Just class, just the horse ooze. The horse has this showman. Look, I mean, just look at him there. He just knows he's a star, stays supple, and obviously very talentedly produced. But the horse just wants to do it, and it just easy.
Made it look easy. And as I say, only the horse's second run at this level. So Maxime Livio, the one to beat for the French team. We saw the first 4 come in and do sub-30 scores. It's really actually sort of set the standard as to what we're expecting this afternoon.
Yeah, I think you have that on different days when you see slightly higher, slightly lower. And we've begun to track this across all of the Event Rider Masters legs. When we've been on panels together, we've discussed this, whether they're slightly above, whether slightly below. Today, clearly below. What gets really interesting, and we've seen this, I think it's a couple of years ago now, but at Gatcombe one of the years, we actually saw the final leg, it completely reversed. I don't know if you remember that. We had quite low scoring early on, and then in the final leg, we didn't see the low scoring. It was probably on par with closer to those averages. What's going to get fascinating here is we've talked about we don't really know how tough a time we're going to see out here on a 4-star short running for the first time at this venue.
And the rumour has it that the cross-country is big and meaty. Everybody I've spoken to so far say it's going to be a really tough track.
They always say that at this point. What I would say is if you look at the levels below, which is all we're using as a guide at the moment, the time is gettable. Now, we can't obviously call it this early as to what's going to happen here, but where I'm getting to now is that I think these next few tests that we see, it is entirely possible, we mentioned this on the podcast during the week, it is entirely possible that we see lots of FODs, which means
an FOD?
A finish on your dressage, not adding any penalties. So people going clear inside the time. So what I really want to focus on in these last couple of tests, Mark, every single change, every single mark is going to be critical. If Tim Price, as I expect, finishes about 23, 24, he'll be ahead of Chris Burton. We'll probably see Star Connection ahead of him as well. You could keep Chris Burton off a podium if there's 3 people ahead of him. Every single mark is going to be critical now because they could very, very easily finish on the scores.
Or it could be a really, really tough track. The time is tight. The show jumping is tough. Who knows? Tomorrow it will all unfold in the jumping phases. But we've got a real series battle coming out here. Chris Burton, the series leader. We've talked a lot about Gireg Lecoz, Janelle Price, both on the series podium from those riders coming forward here. But one lady who should not be discounted is Sarah Cohen and Treason. She comes forward in this final session of dressage. Let's find a little bit more about the special combination.
I first started riding from, I think, the day I was born. We've always had ponies. I grew up on a farm in the Fens near Peterborough. We could go for miles and miles on our ponies, just disappeared for the day. This sort of became serious when a lady called Anne Marshall from the Lawrence David event team approached me when I was 15, and she asked me to ride her event horses for her. And I wasn't I wasn't sure whether I wanted to do horses as a career, but I went there for a week to give it a go and stayed there 6 years. It was a whole new experience because I'd never evented before. That was the start of our career. Our highlight of our career was being selected for Athens Olympics in '04. We had a really good year in '03. We went out to Royal Oaks, Kentucky, and my horse was 12th out there. I came back the following week and had 2 in the top 10 at badminton, and the Wexford lady was 5th there, which got us selection the following year for the Olympics, which was just, it was a bit of a shock, but, I think we deserved it. We got out to Athens, the horse was on great form, and I was just working her on the flat, and she just all of a sudden did a few lame steps and just wasn't 100% at all. We got her checked out, and she just tweaked her suspensory branch and just gutted, absolutely gutted. But you just have highs and lows in this sport, and you have to take the lows with the highs. Treason was a homebred when I was working for Prezi Spark, run by Vanillish Jones. He was quite a big gangly 4-year-old, took a long time at foundation level, did a lot of novices with him, but when we got that solid, he moved for the levels really quickly. And as an 8 and 9-year-old, he did the 8 and 9-year-olds at Blenheim, was runner-up both times, and he just got better and better. And the ERMs has really worked for me. He's a horse that's perfect for them. Definitely in the Event Rider Masters, my high was winning at Wiesbaden in 2017. We went there, we were the only Brit there. I go to these places to be competitive, do the ERMs to be competitive, but I never really expect to win, being a one-horse rider and a total amateur these days. And we went there and it just all went well. And we ended up on the top of the podium, and it was just the most amazing experience. You've got to make the most of these highs, and we sure did. The future for myself and Treason, I'd love to get another season out of him doing the ERMs. He's feeling fantastic, and I see absolutely no reason why not. And then I'd love to find another horse to carry on doing the ERM series with. I just think it's a fantastic series for the sport, and I would love to still carry on being part of it.
She really is an incredible competitor, and we're looking forward to seeing them a little bit later on. She's second in to the arena in this final session, and Treason has been looking better and better in this first phase over the last couple of legs. She will be ruining those 20 penalties across the country in Jardy because they have proven very costly for her for series points, but she is still in with a shout here this weekend. So Sarah Cohen second to go. Michael Young will be the first to go in this final session. But before we get underway with this last 7 competitors in the dressage, let's go back to Hannah.
Thanks, Nicole. Well, look who I managed to find. She's not in the ARM class this weekend, but I have managed to grab a word with her, the legendary Laura Collett. Laura, you had a fantastic start to the year. Chatsworth was incredible. How's the rest of your year been?
Yeah, it's been pretty tough, really. It started off fantastic, and obviously I had disappointment at badminton with my top horse, Mr. Bass, having an injury. It then looked like I was going to be able to have a real crack at the ERM. Things just haven't quite gone to plan, as they don't with horses. And London, he's been fantastic, but just had a sort of a very nearly year. Nearly won Aachen and nearly won a medal at the Europeans, but neither one quite came off. But he's still a really young horse, and I'm still very lucky to ride him. And he's a superstar. He's only 10 years old, and he's got a huge future ahead of him.
You have a lot of Mr. Bass fans here, no more so than Derm, who's in our commentary studio at the moment. How is Mr. Bass? Is he recovering well?
He's outrageous. He's back being ridden, just hacking, and he's so naughty. He likes to entertain himself by being naughty. So we definitely have a love-hate relationship, but he's feeling fine.
Right, let's turn our attention to the Event Rider Masters, because you can be completely impartial. You can tell us exactly what you think. Let's first of all look at this leg. We've never been here before. They've never run a 4-star, so we don't have a lot to compare it to. Who do you think is going to perform well this weekend?
I think the last lot of riders about to do dressage, take your pick, really. My money would be on Mickey. I think you have a safe bet saying him. I think he's pretty much led most of all the other sections so far after dressage, and wouldn't be surprised to see him at the top of the leaderboard again. in the ERM, and once he's at the top, he doesn't really let that grip go. So be interesting for the series, for the leg here in our Lignières. God, I can't even know where we are. But yeah, I think there's so many of them right up there, and be a really good competition.
And very quickly, going to the series leaderboard, Chris Burton is out in front. Can anyone stop him? Do you think he might come unstuck?
Well, look, I was lying second to him last year before Blair, and I told Derm that he needed to get eliminated or something, and it didn't happen. He performs time and time again. He's super consistent, which is why he's sat at the top of the leaderboard. I don't know quite the point system as to if anyone realistically can beat him, barring a disaster, obviously. But I think there's a lot lining up behind him, so for the second and third positions in the series is going to be hard fought.
Yeah, there's very, very tight between Sarah Cohen, who's obviously, just outside the podium at the moment. We've got Gireg Lacoz and Janelle battling it out. Who out of those do you think is going to come out the best?
I would love Cutty too, Sarah Cohen, just because I think she's done amazing with that horse. They have such a partnership, and obviously she only rides him, and to be able to do that at this level is incredible. So serious respect to her, and she's amazing, lovely person, and definitely deserves it, definitely.
Well, watch this space. It's so exciting. We cannot wait to get the final phase of dressage underway, which is going to happen in just a few minutes. Michael Young just warming up. Laura, thank you very much, and best of luck with your winter.
Thank you very much.
Well, we'll no doubt see Laura Collett back in the series in 2020. But as we head into these final session of dressage, 7 of the world's best coming forward. 6 of them have won Event Rider Masters legs before, including one man who actually topped the podium in Arville a little bit earlier on this year. We've waited a little while for Tim Price to be on the top spot. That was with Wesco, a horse owned by the Windrush Equestrian Foundation, who has just been an absolute star for Tim over the years. He comes forward a little bit later on this afternoon with Ascona M. The horse that has won at this level already this year at Tattersalls was the 5-star winner in Le Moulin this year as well. And Tim, he's a real character in himself.
I first started riding back when I was 7 years old. We just moved from the city in Christchurch out into the countryside. We had some ponies in the paddock, so I jumped on them and started galloping around basically. The point that I realised horses were, the thing that I wanted to do and to excel at, sort of came along in my mid-20s, I would say. I did start to realise within myself that I had the ability and the situation where I could go further and further. So from that point on, things have sort of climbed up nicely, and here we are today. Riding has become, I guess, it's our life. It's what we do. So it is really important. But it's not just the riding. I love horses for everything that they represent, but it's also the ability to pursue your competitive spirit through a channel, and the channel for us is horses. Wesco, he's just one of these unique horses that don't come around every day. His trajectory to the top was rapid. He got to advanced level with ease, earning a 4-star along the way. And where things started to take a bit of a downward turn for us was 2016. We were preparing for Kentucky horse trials in America in the spring of 2016, and he had a little injury. That injury not only put us out of Kentucky contention, but out of Olympic selection contention. So that was really disappointing because he had the likes of the Olympic Games written all over him. Something that majorly compounded that was his owner at the time, the late Christina Knudsen. She actually passed away with a rare form of cancer. So that was a massive blow to her friend's family, to the whole situation. It was a bit of an unknown time. It was over 2 years before I knew I was going to be able to get him back and get going again. Yeah, just the not knowing was really tough to live with, considering he was the horse that forged the early part of my career, and that was like my best mate. He really is. So it was a really tough time, but a great phone call at the end of that time to hear that he was coming back my way. He's just an out-and-out special horse. There's obviously a really tight relationship that I have with him. We get on very, very well. So he's got this almost human-like way of thinking about things and presenting himself, and you know, he's very, very clever at charming everyone around him. And along with that nature, he knows when to deliver performance. You know, this year is going to be exciting. The Event Rider Masters series is going to feature for him quite a lot because he needs the atmosphere. He's a horse that likes to compete. Next year we'll nail down a podium at the Olympics, and whatever happens after that will just be for us and for everyone else to wait and see.
Well, Tim and Wesco really are a very special partnership, and he rides the beautiful mare Ascona M, who's very talented in this phase. A little bit later on, he's the penultimate rider to go, but look at those names. I mean, my goodness, Michael Young, Sarah Cohen, Gemma Tassel, Christine Bates, Chris Burton, and can he defend that 2018 series title with a good performance here? Tim Price, Alex Bragg. It could be any one of these riders who are on top of the leaderboard at the end of this first phase. I'm going to come to my two colleagues in our commentary studio, Derm Byrne from Eck Ratings and Mark Riddock, our dressage expert. Derm, quickly, who's going to lead at the end of dressage? Price or Young? Well, this is Michael Young. Mark, prediction?
Yeah, Price or Young.
Okay, well, I think I'm actually going to say Tim Price, Ascona M, I think will be out in front. But this man is bidding to be the second rider to win 3 Event Rider Masters legs. There's a couple that could do it in the field this time, including Chris Burton and Oliver Townend, and Gemma Tassel, in fact, also on 2 legs apiece. Tom Carlile, the only rider to have won 3, but actually Star Connection, the horse that he has won both Event Rider Masters legs with. So he's also bidding for his 3rd Event Rider Masters win. Scored 22.2 in the first phase in Wiesbaden a little bit earlier on this year, when on their way to winning leg 2 of 2019. And their previous win was Jardy 2017. Had a bit of time off in between those two big competitions. Ran a little bit at the lower levels. And Michael is, of course, the double Olympic champion. He's a man who's broken plenty of records in eventing. And he comes forward with Star Connection. This is a test to watch.
So everybody's holding their breath. So a very good halt, a little bit wide behind, and could have been slightly straighter in the move off, but I'm only been able to be like critical to like the 0.5s and why these won't be, why it's not a 9 and not a 10. Lovely rhythm there in that medium trot. Very nice in the frame. Michael is very good. I mean, he's very good with his horse's frames, and he knows what the judges want. And lovely rhythm in that shoulder in. The horse doesn't have the biggest paces or the biggest expressions, you know, like Maxime's horse, but the correctness there and the rhythm and the crossing, very nice. And also very supple through the short sides. And then you can see the difference from the first trot to this trot. When you can hear, and you can hear you can actually hear the beat on the sand, and it stayed exactly in the same. If we had a metronome, the 2-beat, that was a disappointing unsquare halt.
Now, in terms of the rein back, Mark, what are you looking for? The legs moving back in diagonal pairs?
So it always helps when you've halted square and then you're going back in diagonal pairs. So basically they're trotting back. And
okay.
So when you don't halt square, your first step isn't ever going to be a diagonal. The horse caught up and became diagonal. So you could never get an 8 out of an unsquare halt.
Okay.
Because you need to start out of a square halt for the big mark. But that's the, I mean, I don't even call that a glitch. You just call it one of the, you know. Michael would be quite disappointed. His horses don't just always halt square because, you know, everybody trains their horses every time they halt square. You know, it's something in training any horse, even a Shetland pony should be able to be trained to stand square, but it is more difficult than you would actually imagine. So nice and relaxed in the walk, but a little more over track, a little bit more purpose. And just slight little bit of tension in that last bit of the walk there. So that comes down into the medium walk. But very nice pickup. I'd like more bend to the right. So like, let's be able to see the inside eye more from the rider's point of view. But it's good in the balance. You know, the horse is very, very good in the mouth. It's happy in its work. You know, it just isn't the biggest mover in the world. You know, and a lovely easy change in the same rhythm as the canter. Exactly over the centre line. You know, very clear transition. And it's more about the balance through this half circle. So the horse stays in balance, stays supple. I would say that's probably the nicest one we've seen all day on that medium canter circle and the transition back. So then we'd take the flexion. This could be more consistent in the bend in the half pass. But it probably makes it a 7-5 or an 8. And such a lovely frame. The horse has just got his nose just in front of the vertical the whole time. Hasn't varied in anything. You know, and a very good change again there. I mean, it hasn't missed a beat. So to be fussy, he needed a square halt.
Well, it's certainly not damaged his trending score. He is well on track to take over at the top of the leaderboard. Michael Young and Star Connection absolutely delivering in this first phase. And are they able to win an Event Rider Masters leg for the third time to equal Tom Carlisle's record? He gets his final halt, but will it be a German winner here in France? Michael Young, the double Olympic champion, goes way out in front. Star Connection delivers. And he looks pretty pleased with that mark as well, he should.
And it was an interesting shot of the audience all nodding their approval as well. As Durham was as well. Yeah, I mean, his horses are just so like, it's like they're not almost horses. They're just so obedient and so trainable and just so accurate. You know, and if you could add the flair of Maxime's horse, they're really nice.
It's one thing I always notice about Michael Young in the dressage, Mark. He never gives the judge any excuse to take things away, except for the odd hind leg that's left trailing. But he's so correct in how he presents a test.
To be fair, it's a German system of riding.
Well, look at that, 21.5. He has laid down his challenge. That is the score to beat Star Connection well out in front and almost has just under a show jump in hand of second place Maxime, Livio and Appy de Lebert. But Michael Young, he's a double Event Rider Masters leg winner before. Can he take his third leg here in Lignières? Hannah?
Well, Nicole, that was absolutely exceptional. You must be delighted. 21.5.
Yeah, Star Connection was really nice to ride. He was very, relaxed, but with still positive power. I always have him in front of me, and I can do everything nearly like I wish. And it's a super atmosphere, and with the music, it's a little bit special feeling. And this time was just to enjoy. It was really nice.
She seems very obedient, very with you, very it just all seems very accurate. Do you have that feeling when you're at home training as well as here?
Yes, he's a very easy horse. He is a super character, and it's just every day is nice with him to train with him, to work with him in every discipline. It's a really beautiful horse.
Well, we look forward to seeing what you can do tomorrow, Michael. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, he is absolutely the one to beat. But here comes Sarah Cohen with Liz Jones and Pressy Sparks at Treason, 17 years of age. Treason by the French show jumping sire Hand in Glove, and a horse that has scored 26.3 on his last two Event Rider Masters outings. Has 3 top 10 ERM placings to his name so far, and Sarah Cohen 60 points in her Event Rider Masters series tally as well.
It was a very good halt. Said to the judges, you might have had him, but actually keep those marks out because I want some of them. Lovely rhythm in that medium trot. Very good transition. Super frame. Very good tempo through the short side. Looking nice and supple and clear in the rhythm. Smooth into the half pass. Maybe the quarters are just trailing a little bit, but she rescued them towards the end. But that's just fussiness. Now this is a very good indication of horse's hind leg there. How the horse really steps under, lifts the front end, and then reaches out in front. Very good trot. And a nice transition. Superb halt.
Exactly 5 steps.
A little bit crooked, I would say, I think from here, but yeah, so a 9 for that halt. And very good in the rhythm. Nice bend there. Maybe a little bit more crossing towards the end. But very good in the rhythm. Super transition.
Son Alfie watching on.
He's her biggest critic.
He certainly tells her what she needs to do better.
And the walk is beautiful. It was such a lovely transition.
Now, this horse usually, his canter work does pick him up more marks. If that is the case, they are well in personal best territory. And actually, they could put themselves in real contention for big series points here.
And the walk was very good there. There was some slight resistance to the contact back. But, I mean, it's to why they're dropping to the 0.5s. I feel wrong to be sitting here critiquing these people, really. But hey ho, there's worse things could be doing on a Saturday.
Well, we are certainly in for a real treat today because this afternoon, well, this morning's dressage has been full of big names.
Well, also critical series moments as well, I would say, because you've talked about Jureg and Janelle going head to head here. You've mentioned the personal best, so it's just if you can get just 24.8 is their all-time best ever dressage score. They've been very consistent, about 2 marks ahead of that for their last 2 dressage tests. That looks good, Mark.
Very, very, very good. Like, I would hope that would be a 9. It was so in balance, such quality, so well ridden, so well prepared. Please give her a 9.
Sarah?
And this is the horse's strong point, these medium canters. Sorry. The medium canters are the horse's strong point as well. Durham?
Sarah Cohen is not far behind. You know, she's on 63 points in the series. She's only 5 behind Janelle, 4 behind Gireg. I would suggest that this dressage test is likely to make her a much stronger second favourite to finish second on the podium. She's in PB territory now. She's one of the fastest horses in the field. As we said earlier, it'll all depend on those polls tomorrow morning.
You can see where the horse is so rideable, always, and that's where his strong point. And the horse has got better. And I mean, he's not a young horse, but this season he's improved.
He absolutely has. He is getting better and better. And as I say, he scored 26.3 on his last 2 Event Rider Masters outings. 24.8 was actually his personal best at the level below. And his flying changes, Mark, are really going to improve that score.
They are going to, because they're so expressive, and Sarah's able to place them, just like Michael was, completely over the centre line where it matters. And then she will go for this now. Don't overdo it, Sarah.
Well, Sarah Cohen and Treason, she's been on an Event Rider Masters series podium before. Can she do so again? That was in 2017. She finished second to Gemma Tattersall, and she is putting in her challenge for a 2019 series podium finish here, and possibly a leg podium as well, because that is a massive personal best for the horse's entire career. She's trending 23.4. We're going to see that total score in just a moment. Should go into second on the leg leaderboard. But Sarah Cohen and Treason, personal best, Mark. You say the horse is looking better and better. that was the best we've seen him all year.
It was, because everything came. The trot work, her canter work, she's upped like 0.5%, but actually she's been really working on the trot. And actually it was where she was trending better than ever as she went into the walk. So it was a trot work she's really improved, and those changes, and then she just went for that last movement as well.
And in terms of the series, now Sarah Cohen well in touch here, and that will have done her chances no harm at all.
100%, 52 international competitions, and we've just watched Treason's best ever dressage test. What a time to deliver it. We talked about the potential that they could have a pole tomorrow. They've now bought themselves they've bought themselves a big bit of insurance against that. They could still have a pole. Depending on how this plays out, Nicole, and I don't say this lightly because you're trying to draw me in on whether there'll be time penalties tomorrow. But by God, if there was time penalties tomorrow, she could now be in with a big chance of taking away more than just a podium series prize pot. She could end up getting that redemption for what happened at Jardy and going on potentially and winning this here. She has delivered in the first phase. She has 2 more now to do.
Well, absolutely delighted. Sarah Cohen delivers Treason's best ever international dressage test, 23.0. Hannah, I imagine you have a very happy Sarah Cohen in front of you now.
Just casually slipping in a career personal best there when you needed to.
Yeah, well, I thought last event of the year, you know, let's give it our all.
That was.
He was awesome in there. He's just so Mr. Consistent and so rideable in there. You know, and actually the little bit of atmosphere gives him a bit of a lift, and I just have to control that balance and control the power. But he's such a star, and I mean, and he looks beautiful and amazing. Tammy has done an amazing job, so please vote for Tammy. She's yeah, it's been a great week so far, but there's a lot to do tomorrow.
You got to keep those polls up though tomorrow, Sarah. Alfie, what did you think?
It was a very good test, and let's just hope she keeps the polls up tomorrow and goes clear in the cross country.
Okay, no pressure, Mum. Come on. Good luck, Sarah.
Thanks, Hannah.
Well, next to come forward, Gemma Tattersall with Chris and Lisa Stones at Jalapeno. There's a new ride for Gemma this year, was actually produced by Belgian rider Karen Donkers. Gemma, 3 internationals on the horse so far, has not scored a worse test than 27.2. So this mare that really can deliver in this first phase. And Gemma, of course, a former Event Rider Masters Series champion as well.
Started very the horse another one. They just fill your eye, and Gemma coming in again like Sarah did. Just a bit like, we can just forget Michael, because we are still all here for this competition. Like the lovely steps there, really lovely ground cover. So maybe would want the hocks a little bit more under the body to get to the 9s. Very good halt. And just a little fussy in the mouth in the rein back, but probably to the 7.5, nothing more than less than that. It's quite a different sequence down that short side, from the extended trot to the transition to the halt to the rein back and then go again to shoulder in. It's more difficult than actually you would imagine. Again, hasn't put a foot wrong. I think it seems to be you can be trending on about 25 when you get into the walk, and then it's the canter that
makes or breaks. Well, just as an indication as to how competitive this class is, we've currently got 11 from the 13 scores in that are sub 30.
Yeah, that walk was very nice. Super transition, very obedient. Again, a lovely frame. Nose just in from the vertical, pull the highest point. Horse just bounces across in this half pass. And it's been able to rebalance for the serpentine. A really nice expressive foreleg in the canter. Again, they're just keeping the rhythm, keeping him supple. The suppleness is lovely on the serpentine. A super change there in balance, in the same rhythm, and lovely expression. The horse looks really, it looks like trees and looks really rideable. That the horse has come with the rider to the game as well. Super smooth transition. Lovely and light. There's a whole lightness to this horse. Very well positioned. Just keeps the same reach across. She's giving this a peach of a ride. Well, Gemma's very experienced on the flat, but she looks like she's just, this is the best test I've seen her ride all year. We haven't seen him on this horse, have we?
Nope.
No.
Horses,
I've seen
Event
the
Rider
horse around,
Masters
but
debut
yes.
with Gemma.
Beautiful change again. It's going to be close to Sarah's score.
Sarah on 23.0.
And as a sitting here watching them, I wouldn't be able to put a card between them myself. So, you know, and Gemma's gone for that as much as Sarah did as well.
Well, the 2017 series champion Gemma Tattersall is on track to go into a podium place here. We'll go inside the top three. Mummy Tattersall's watching on. Charlotte Overton, her head girl as well. And that is an excellent finish. Gemma will breathe a sigh of relief. She's had a fairly up and down season, but 2 9s for her final halt, 22.8. And that is an exceptional performance. Will be a personal best for the combination. But definitely things are hotting up in this final session. We've had one after the other, all going into podium positions. Mark, that test really did excel, particularly in the canter work, the second half.
It was hers and Sarah's. The pair of them, the canter work is such quality, such balance, such natural suppleness, and when I say about attacking, both Gemma and Sarah attacked that canter, you know, and it paid off. That the horses came to the party as well, that they were allowing their riders to ask them for their ultimate amount of ability.
Well, 22.3. She goes into second. Gemma Tattersall for Team GB. Jalapeno go just behind Michael Young and Star Connection. Oh, big smiles from Gemma, Hannah. Good to see her back on form here.
Gemma back on form, 22.3. A fairly new ride for you as well, and that was absolutely magnificent.
Yeah, I feel we're actually starting to get the hang of each other now, and we've been pushing for this score a couple of times, but we've made some mistakes, which is then why we've dropped down to sort of 25, 26 before, but we've been right up there a few times. It's just really nailing each other. Just been beautifully produced by Karen Donkers, and it was just a case of us getting a hang of each other, to be honest.
And you've got owner Chris Stone watching on. He'll be delighted as well. Tomorrow, poles up. We know you're fast cross country, so you know you're in a really good shot. You've put yourself in a great position.
Yeah, show jumping with this horse is still work in progress, but we're getting the hang of it, and we might have a rail down, but we're here to be competitive and aiming for Poe, so hopefully we'll just have a good ride.
Well done, Gemma.
Good girl.
Well, Gemma, understandably delighted with that test. Is next to come forward. It is an Event Rider Masters debutant, but actually a horse that has won at this level more times than any other horse in the field. 3 wins. It is Christine Bates with Adelaide Hill. And Christine actually spending a bit of time based over in the UK, but otherwise based over in Australia. Horse that has been top 12 at Adelaide in the 5-star on 2 previous occasions, back in 2011 and 2013. 17 years of age, so hugely experienced at the very top level.
The test started very well. The medium trot, the horse doesn't have the biggest ground cover. You can see there, compared to the previous sort of 3 horses, he's just a little bit more, conformationally wise, he's a little bit more upright in his shoulder. Well, that was a shame. Well rescued. So the judges will appreciate that she brought him back and went again. So she shouldn't get below a 5 because she actually showed a medium trot. Very good halt, but little onto the hand. And that's when he then drops back. The rein back was very clear, very nice steps. They would just wanted a bit more pull to be higher. Also got good energy. There's too much neck bend in that shoulder, and you should only be able to see the inside eye. But that should make her have a very fancy half pass because she had a very good bend for the half pass. Clear crossing. And we just see, hopefully, it was just a blip, that medium trot, when he cantered. We could just have a little bit more relaxation. You can just see a little bit in his mouth. Like, I always think when they do that with mouths, it's like me, I bite my nails when I'm tense. So if they could bite their nails, they would. That's improving all the time, that walk. That's it. And then this is the crunch moment here when you have to bring the back up to the medium walk. Just kept the sequence. Nice smooth transition. Then she just places him here and then comes from the L letter, comes half pass. Quarters leading at the beginning. So the first leg you need to be seeing is the foreleg, not the hind leg. So that judge down here at H would see that more. That's a lovely round canter. Naturally uphill. He is allowing her to make him supple through the serpentine. Just tight to the aid, really. Just a bit, he's not green because he's won at this level a few times. Just tension. He sort of exploded to her aid. She'd have been surprised with that because actually the serpentine was really nice. You normally get the feeling on the serpentine whether that's going to happen.
He looks to be feeling pretty well in himself, Mark.
He does, but like that serpentine, he really let her ride him and bend him and make him supple. So she'd have thought, this change will be fine. So she'll have been a little bit like, you little monkey. You didn't warn me about that. We could just see the stride in the canters just getting a little bit shorter and a little bit hotter, where he just needs to relax forward. Normally a half pass does help because you get your leg on to be able to ride them forward in the half pass and actually get into them a little bit. Their bodies. And then this is just the grimmest movement ever. He's allowing her in. But then you see they're not stupid because they know I only have 2 tests. And this is the test with the fine change here. Yeah, and he did that change like he probably can do them every day of the week. It's just a bit hot. Stunning looking. She'd be disappointed he hasn't let him ride her as much as she'd like to be able to get in there. See, like there through that, galloping around that circle, he got a bit tense and then stiffened and lost the bend.
The galloping around the circle, we should say it's extended canter on the first short side, then back to medium canter on the half circle, isn't it?
But they just go as fast as they can, basically.
Well, a lovely finish to their Event Rider Masters debut. Christine Bates and Adelaide Hill, their equi-rating 6-run average 29.1. So they're not a million miles away from it, but perhaps a little bit rueful of what could have been. And we'll confirm their final score in just a second. But in terms of this final session of dressage, I'm just going to ask you a second. We've obviously seen 3 exceptional tests. Christine, this horse has won at the level more times than any other horse in the field. How rare is it that we will get this number of horses?
I think you're very unlikely to see. I mean, this is going to be probably the lowest ever, and this is Event Rider Masters leg number 24, the end of the 4 series, and it's going to be the lowest ever average. Don't forget the one it's going up against is Wiesbaden, where it was kind of probably a little bit different in that we had Ingrid on such a low score and Julia on such a low score. This is actually consistently across the board. So yeah, rare that you see this.
Well, we are definitely spoilt with the top combinations, but good to have Christine making her Event Rider Masters debut. She's with Hannah.
Thanks, Nicole. Yes, Christine, your Event Rider Masters debut. How was it?
Look, obviously I had 2 little mistakes, which was a bit disappointing, but, you know, it's a big atmosphere, and he was actually too relaxed. He actually was so quiet and rideable that I got a bit caught out in that first change. He was like cruising along nice and relaxed, and he went, oh, change. So woke me up for the second one. And then extended was a bit of a shame. He just started to drop the pole and I went, no, and then he thought he was in trouble. So just one of those things. And look, I'm stoked. I've not had, we came over last year and I tried to enter, I wanted to go to Mill Street, couldn't go. So to actually be here is great.
It's quite an amazing event, isn't it? Amazing atmosphere. You're doing your dressage test to music. It makes a huge difference.
Yeah, it's actually, I found it really relaxing because I was singing the words to the song, but thinking about my movements and it actually translated to the horse. Like he was so relaxed and, not anticipating stuff. So it was great.
Well, we look forward to seeing more of you, Christine. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Well, 3 combinations left to go, and this next test is one you do not want to miss. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. It is the series leader. It is the man who is the defending series champion, Chris Burton, for Australia with Claire Poole's Quality Purdy. This the mare that he brought forward for a 3rd place finish in Arville a little bit earlier on this year. Would have taken the win had it not been for a dramatic safety activation on a mim clip out on the cross country, which cost them 11 penalties. Still kept them on the podium, but Chris Burton looking for a huge performance here in Lignières for the series finale. Can he hold on to that top spot and take back-to-back series titles? Can he challenge for a leg podium as well? This is a test that has a huge amount of money riding on it.
Look, hasn't been the best halt of this batch where the judges penalise horses that step back because they think the horse is thinking backwards. So it was a bit of a shame, but Chris is going to come and then bang out a big mark with that trot. So really lovely in the rhythm, very good behind, real smooth transition back. Just needs to watch the horse doesn't drop the pole. So that there, just a bit inconsistent in the frame. And then we're into a lovely Game of Thrones music going on.
And Chris Burton actually one of the only riders in the Event Rider Masters series that choreographs his music to his test, much more like they do in pure dressage. It's not just background music, it is choreographed to his test. And if you want to listen to that music, listen via eventridermasters.tv.
So it's super in the steps there. Just a little more self-carriage. She was just getting a bit onto his hand towards the end. I think it would stop the 9s coming out. Super halt. Some resistance there to the rein back. But this is into the sort of why they're not 9s.
Well, let's just tell you, Quality Purdy's personal best at this level is 24.5. In fact, personal best at any level with Chris Burton.
Well, Nicole, that number is going to be really important. Keep that number of 23 in mind because that is where we currently have Sarah Cohn and Treason. If Quality Purdy goes below 23, the series is then in his hands because if he finishes there, it's all over. So if he can get below 23, it's in his hands.
And how the walk's going, I would think we could get there. Lovely, stunning walk. Real lovely purpose, relaxation. It was good in the frame. The nose was just in front of the vertical. I'm surprised at that being 7s. So what do I know? Yeah, I thought there'd be more for that. Maybe the camera angle. I thought that most of them had quarters leading.
Well, wife Beck watching on. They've got 2 young boys at home as well. No doubt family tuned in from all over the world.
Such lovely canter, lovely in the rhythm, lovely round steps. And it was nice and supple through there. The flying change was a little bit flat. Sort of, you wouldn't say it was mistimed, but just in the stride. She could have been on the up stride rather than the down stride for the change. So it lacked the expression. That is stunning there. She used her backside to push her up. Oh no. Oh no, oh no. And that, I think, was called going for it and the risk he had to take. And
He did take the risk though, didn't he? You could tell he was pushing for every point of a mark.
Yeah, because he needs to get the 9s out. And it's just a risk he took.
What a series moment. It will, I would say, still be very unlikely that it's going to affect him that badly, but we can see those scores, 4-4-5 coming in, Mark. He's likely to pull that up, I would say, before the end of the test, but he has now put himself under pressure. Top riders ahead of him. He will surely be inside the time tomorrow. We know he's the fastest man in the world, but he is under pressure.
And then there was tension just at the end of that serpentine before the change as well. I think Chris going for that, which he needed to just go, slightly unsettled her a little bit here. You can see in her mouth. And she changed again.
And actually, he was a little bit later to correct that, Mark. That is going to prove expensive as well.
Yeah. Yeah, and she's just she's changing again. She just boiled over. This is such a shame.
Well, Chris Burton, he's looking for his second Event Rider Masters Series win. Quality Purdy has been on Event Rider Masters podium before, but things not all going to plan. He's a bit of a wry smile because there were some expensive mistakes. They know how costly it could be. There is a huge amount of money riding on his performance here this weekend. But Chris Burton will wait for those last few scores to come in. He's still going to be in touch, but he's left himself a bit of work to do now, Dermot. Has he opened the door?
He has opened the door, but only slightly. We have a slightly smaller field. We have 19, we have 18. So what's going to happen now is it's still if he was able to get into the top 10, he's still very likely to take the series. But what has happened now is he has no more room for error. It's in a very tight competition, Mark. We're just seeing these replays now. Very tight competition. He's going to be in the bottom half of the field, I would suggest, tomorrow.
I think it's because he went for it and he had to go for it. She lost her balance, and then from that moment on, she lost confidence, and then the other mistakes, which happens with the horses, and the other mistakes creep in. It's a bit like having the show jump down. You can go and have a couple more.
Yeah.
Sensitive mare. Such a shame.
Well, Chris Burton, do not write him off because he is still well in touch with the score. It just isn't quite where he would have wanted to have been. And we'll confirm his score for you in just a second. That is Alex Bragg. He'll be making his final preparations in a couple of horses' time. But I think that penalty score might be revised. We'll confirm it. Chris will hope it will be revised. Hannah, a little bit of disappointment there, perhaps?
Yeah, I'm sure. We'll just try and grab a word with Chris. Probably not quite the test you were after, Chris.
No, these ERM guys must be putting the pressure on. She was quite good this morning, and then I don't know. She got a bit tight, and then she just wouldn't let go and breathe. But never mind. There's more to come.
Hey, listen, you've opened the door, but I mean, it's a millimetre or two. You're still in a pretty comfortable position for the overall series. What do we do about tomorrow? We refocus. What's the plan?
No, we just keep doing our job. Try and leave all the rails up, and then try and jump in between all the flags, and try not to knock too many pins over.
Hey, look, we know you're cool. You're gonna smash it, I'm sure, Chris. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Well, he will be naturally a little bit disappointed with that because it was a test of two halves. It was so promising in the trot work. He was looking at a podium position on the leaderboard, but then a couple of expensive mistakes. He should still be inside the top 15. The provisional score I have of 30.2. So if that would be 30.2, he is in touch, but he is outside of the top 10, and he has to climb some places on the leaderboard. There we go, 29.9 revised. So into 13th place on the leaderboard. It's an important score for him, not perhaps what he was looking for, but still there is a long way to go. And we've spoken about it time and time again. Chris Burton is a cross-country speed machine. If he can leave the poles up tomorrow, and Quality Purdy, one of the best show jumpers in the field, then he will really fancy his chances to finish on that starting score, which will hopefully, for his sake, be good enough to see him go into the top spot in the series. Well, here is Tim Price and Ascona M coming forward. The New Zealand rider is the winner of Arville in leg 3. This is a horse that has been on an Event Rider Masters podium before, second at Blenheim a couple of years ago, back in 2017 in the series finale. but Ascona M, a mare who is particularly talented in this phase. Mark, you and I saw her out exercising yesterday. She caught both of our eyes, and I'm going to put them up as they're our leaders.
Well, I think you may do that now. After what's just happened. Yeah, we saw her on the gallops yesterday. Well, she was on the galloping. We just saw this grey horse just ooze past us with class, didn't we? And like she'd got marshmallows under her feet. And she just has this look, doesn't she? She knows she's sexy.
Now, Tim, we heard from him a little bit earlier on, Mark, when Janelle had done her test. He's a cool, calm customer, but he's got a little bit of a job here to do for Janelle in terms of the series leaderboard points as well.
Yes, I mean, obviously they are an unbelievable couple, but they are their own competitive people in their own rights, aren't they? Then they happen to be married to each other, so it helps. If one can't win, neither can. But if he could do Janelle a favour and get up there and mix it all up. So the halt could have been better. So she could have maybe given a little bit more reach there in that medium trot. So super in that shoulder in. Lovely cadence and lift. A little more right flexion. And so the rhythm there, though, she gave quite a lot of crossing and got her quarters leading. Just the rhythm varied. So they'll mark that down. It's almost like she's like a spider and gets her legs knotted. Could have had a little more power there for like the eights. A beautiful frame.
Now, on her last two tests internationally, she scored 25.8, 25.9 marks. So,
yeah, so she's on trend. Oh, oh, oh. Right. So it was a very good halt, but that showed there's obviously a lot of hidden tension in there. The rein back is where that's why the rein backs are put in there, to see the horse's submission, which I hate the word submission, but to see the horse's obedience, and that because no horse chooses to go backwards naturally, and that just showed the tension that was in her. But so he's obviously riding it very well. The half pass should have made up for what's just happened in the rein back. It's a frightening moment when they do that in the rein back. I think, please do not knock the boards over. Please don't leave. Please don't get eliminated.
That was a key leg moment that we've just seen, because it's going to hand all of the power to Michael Young now. He is going to be favourite for this leg after the dressage phase. He's on a 21.7. He's going to be leading Gemma Tattersall and Sarah Cohen right up alongside him. We expected Ascona M to challenge. We expected them to be close. I do think they will pull back a little bit from that, but they have certainly cost themselves. They've cost themselves 3 or 4 marks at the moment, and a little bit of work to do to get back in towards that top 3 area.
My concern there, Derm, would be the tension she's showing.
Is the sneezing a sign of tension?
Yeah, it's just, and it's a bit of anger and tension, especially through this serpentine and the changes. I hope you're not right. I hope I'm wrong, Derm.
Well, there's Janelle watching on in the background. She's done her test, scored a personal best with Gravine Dadev a little bit earlier on.
That change was absolutely beautiful, so thank goodness I was wrong with my estimations of her
What
tension.
was so beautiful about it?
The balance, the expression, very like Sarah's horse, like Treason. They're just so up in front, and it's huge stride, but it just lands in. Did I say it once? When it landed like a butterfly.
Ah,
on
delicate.
a leaf, delicately.
Still going to be well above the average for where we would expect this combination to be. 7 runs for the mare at this level of the sport. Averages 27.1. Obviously arriving here off the back of 2 wins as well, in very good form. That little bit of tension mark that you're identifying earlier on, that one mistake at that rein back time, it has cost them marks. It has handed the initiative, certainly for the leg, to Michael Young, who looks like he's now going to be that overnight leader. I know we have Alex Bragg to come, but 21.7 and probably now favourite to take the leg.
But the horse, she's really come back on side. It's just obviously that little blip. A nice change, but Tim could have placed it more over the centre line. So he's not going to...
Do you have to do the flying change
I do.
directly over
Yes,
the centre line?
Exactly. So,
Exactly
but it's how
over the
you
centre
arrive
line.
on your stride pattern, which these lot be able to see strides. He should have been able to count his stride pattern better. For the get the 9 and stuff, which he got on the other rein. But it's how your stride pattern gets you off of the serpentine. But maybe he couldn't adjust her.
He got a clean change though. Tim Price and Ascona M are still well in touch with this test. They really pulled it back in the second half. Should go inside the top 5. Janelle watching on in the background. Team Price have been a huge part of the Event Rider Masters series in 2019. Did a 1-2 in Arville. Tim topped the leaderboard. Janelle was second. And Tim has every chance of finishing on a podium again here. He should go into 5th place on the leaderboard as things stand at the moment. But Ascona M really not making Tim's life that straightforward in the first half of that test. Tim showing all of his experience. Made his first appearance as FEI World #1 this year. Just sitting inside the top 3 in the world now. And Mark, Tim did a great job there, didn't he?
He did, because she just had too much to say, didn't she, at times? But I mean, she's stunning, and her quality of work.
And she is still well in touch with the leaders. 27.4 just off the podium in 5th. Let's go and hear Tim's thoughts, who he'll catch up with Hannah.
Worked for all of that test. She's a lively little thing in there, but what a great job he did in pulling that back. Tim, whew, I mean, you did extraordinarily well considering. I mean, she really made you work for that.
She really did, because she is extreme. You know, she can be incredible, and I think she's going to Po, which is in about 3 weeks' time, and I think the fitness is there for her. Because she's just feeling amazing, but to try and keep it all bottled up and for a dressage test is quite difficult.
27.4, I think, putting you into 5th place. You're still very much in the mix, but it's quite a long way to Mickey Young at the front. What do you think?
I agree with you. No, it's. I'm happy to claw that kind of score out of her. She is very capable. She could be up there with Mickey, but you've got so many things to deal with an event horse. They've got to be so dynamic in many ways, and so I'm happy, and it's on track. 2 good jumping phases, and it should be fairly competitive.
Best of luck tomorrow, Tim.
Thanks, Hannah.
Well, that absolutely still is all to play for. Tim Price in touch with Ascona M in 5th at the moment, 27.4. The one to beat, Michael Young, Star Connection, 21.7. Gemma Tattersall Jalapeno, 22.3. And Sarah Cohen, Treason, 23.0. A career personal best for Treason sees them on a podium spot at the moment. We have just one more combination to come forward here at the series finale of the 2019 Event Rider Masters Series. Lignières, the venue, and it is an absolutely glorious one at that. The sun is shining here. The racecourse looks absolutely magnificent. The crowds have been enjoying some top-class competition thus far, and we're looking forward to this final combination to come forward. And it is a combination, actually, that have won an Event Rider Masters leg previously, because Alex Bragg comes forward with Zagreb, a horse that was on the podium, actually, in Mill Street just a few weeks ago in leg 5, has won internationally at Gatcombe at the level below since then as well. Owned by Sally Ellicott. Zagreb, 15 years of age now, but has been a real star for Alex in his career. Now, Mark, just cast your mind back to this horse's dressage in Mill Street, because the first half of the test was absolutely exceptional. It unravelled slightly in the second half, but this, if all things go to plan, is a test that can challenge the lead.
Indeed it is. What happened at Mill Street was a little bit what happened to Chris Burton. Just going for it, and it just because it was the risk he took. So let's hope, because it's the risk equals reward.
Well, here he is. Alex Bragg and the grab.
And to be fair, in Mill Street, it was the first time it had been cold all for months, wasn't it? And I think it was a big temperature change. Very good halt. Super move off. Very good rhythm. Very clear. Very active hind leg. Very good frames and smooth in transition back. There, the frame's very good. The nose just in front of the vertical. Looks nice and settled in the mouth. Very good positioning in the shoulder in. Then the fluency to the half pass and the hind leg crossing. Right foreleg could be a little bit more, the suppleness wore off a little bit towards the end. The bend just needs to stay more consistent all the way to the centre line. And there's a clear difference from one trot to another. Very good in the hind leg.
Being a medium trot, the second trot being an extended trot.
So the judges are looking for that you don't go full bore in your first trot. Super halt. The horse placed himself nicely forward to it. And okay, they could say it was a little bit on the hand because he shortened the neck a little bit and dragged back. So it won't be the best mark for the Rainbacks we've seen all day. Super half, really super half pass. I would say that's the best half pass we've seen all day. On that left rein. Just had rhythm, softness.
Alex's wife, Simone, just on the right-hand side of the three, watching on in the background. It is a real family affair at Team Bragg. All three of their girls ride as well.
So the walk could have had a little bit more ground cover. It was true and regular. A little bit hot to the transition.
Now, this is where,
it
Mark,
is.
I feel like I daren't say anything. He is challenging the leader at the moment. Michael Young, 21.7. Alex Bragg is well in touch, but it was the canter work that was expensive in Mill Street.
And I fear it slightly went into the canter, the same as Mill Street. And he's a little bit tight round here and losing the ground cover and the fluency. Just getting a little bit tight here. Yep. Just like at Mill Street a little bit where the horse kicked out at Alex's leg, which shows it's just sign of being bottled up. And they just have a little kick out.
Does this extended canter help with that little bit of tension?
Sometimes you'd be thinking, if it was on a straight line, I think you'd think yes. But I think because of the curve, it makes you have to put your leg on a little bit more. It can actually make it worse. Because in a straight line, you can just say, get on with it and go forward. The judge at H didn't notice that flying change, so that's happy days for Alex then.
It is all about the angle that you see it
is,
which, isn't it?
Exactly. It's not, it's getting better now. I can breathe now for him now. The horse is actually breathing now again. Yeah, it's got a better ground cover on this serpentine. Oh, don't be naughty here. Yeah, so we were a little bit tight and bottled again for that flying change. So score will just drop a little bit after that flying change. And that was nice transitions through that through the half circles. Could have been braver, but I'd say he wouldn't risk it.
Well, he comes down his final centre line. Alex Bragg and Zagreb. There was a huge amount to like in that test. Team Bragg are happy. It'll be good to see if Alex was pleased with that as well. Should think he would be. Plenty of 8s, a few 9s sprinkled in there as well. We'll wait for that final score because there were just a couple of costly mistakes in the last bit of the canter work that unfortunately will mean that they're not able to challenge the leader, Michael Young. But Alex did everything he could possibly do there, Mark, to just keep a lid on it.
He did, because he went into that canter and I thought, do not do Mill Street again. And then that first fine changed when he kicked out of the leg, and the second one, but actually he let Alex get into him again, where at Mill Street there was no, it just got ridiculous, didn't he? But here he stayed more the professional today.
He absolutely kept a lid on it. We're waiting for his score to come in, but he came down that first centre line, the first halt, told the judges that he meant business. And that was just the first of those flying changes where Zagreb was a little bit naughty. 24.4, not quite a career personal best, but not far off it. Alex Bragg and Zagreb well in touch here in 4th place, and they will fancy their chances for another podium here, Hannah.
Absolutely. Alex was just saying not too bad. I think we can do a little better than that, Alex. 24.4, you're in 4th place. I mean, that was great.
Slightly the grumpy rider. I thought my test was much better than that, and I wanted a couple more marks. But no, actually, I'm a happy face this series. You know, the team's in a really happy place. The horse, again, did great. A little bit sharp in the changes, which probably cost us being that couple marks high. But, yeah, thrilled, happy, going into the jumping phases. And this is an amazing surface to jump off of, so fingers crossed the horse will enjoy it.
You know we love having you on the podium, and there are a few people this weekend that have picked you to be on the podium in this leg. Do you think you've got what it takes?
Firstly, I'd like to say thank you very much to all of them. Yeah, you've got to believe in yourself. Believe that you're going to be on that podium, and yeah, is it obvious that I enjoy it up there? No, I love all that bravado, and you know, it's just what I ride for. So yeah, I'm going to try my best, and you know I won't give up without trying.
And you love a French crowd, we know that. Good luck, Alex.
Thank you very much, Hannah. Cheers.
He really is the greatest showman, Alex Bragg. He's been always excellent value in the Event Rider Masters series, and he won on French soil when he took Jardy in 2018. Can he get on another podium? The horse has been on 3 Event Rider Masters podiums. What will he be able to do here in Lignières? Well, what a dressage phase we have enjoyed. It is the series finale here in Lignières-en-Berry, the first time we visited the venue. Mark Ruddock and Dan Byrne in the studio with me, and we have enjoyed all of the action as it has unfolded this morning. We hope you at home has as well. Let's just reflect on the morning. Mark, first of all, our leader, Michael Young, Star Connection. He's a double Event Rider Masters leg winner on this horse as well. What was it that set him apart?
Just the preciseness, I don't want to say robotic, I can't think what the word is, but literally just every sentence, every dotted, just precision is what outed. And then we have some flair. There we go. You can't criticize anything. I would like a little bit more expression, maybe a little bit more. But this is what the horse is. Just perfect. He'd be like head boy at school, wouldn't he? And head prefect.
He's so good to watch in a dressage test because he has such brilliant way of presenting that test to the judges. Now, he is the one to beat here. He was one of the favourites coming into this leg, but third place, Sarah Cohen, Treason 23.0, a career personal best for the horse. He's 17 years old, getting better and better. For the series here, she's put herself in a brilliant position.
Very big moment for the series for them. And particularly because we know their speed cross country. I would say what has lined up this leg brilliantly for us is now the fact that we have a leader. He could become a runaway leader. You don't probably want to hear that, but it'll be very interesting for the series. He could become a runaway leader because I would say there is a question mark over both of the other two who are on that overnight podium in terms of the show jumping. Not a massive question, but they both have the potential to have a pole. That would push Alex Bragg up into second if Zagreb was to jump clear. And we did see mistakes from Tim and Chris, two very talented riders. Everyone else there's a battle going on between Gireg and Janelle. Fascinating. There's going to be a potential, everyone's going to have to chase down Michael Young. And I think now we've certainly opened the door. So yeah, that's been a setup as well as we could. Lots of stories.
Let's just have a quick word on Chris Burton, because Quality Purdy, she came here, Chris Burton, she was, I think, second on the Echo Ratings Eventing Prediction Centre for the win. Yeah. Everybody was piling the pressure on Chris. Now, Mr. Cool did have a couple of very expensive mistakes in his test. Just how important were those?
I mean, what's fascinating and what we've always got to look, it's our job to try and create that story. And certainly it is one of the stories about there is a pressure on him. But all that pressure for me actually comes as he goes out cross country. I don't think, for someone to make mistakes like that and for it to be a potential talking point, he still delivered a sub-30 test. There's not that many riders around the world who are able to do a sub-30 test on their best day. We've seen huge talent here on display today. Chris Burton is very likely to show a jump clear. He's the fastest man in the world. We have to talk about it as a story. We have to talk about it as pressure. But for me, I wouldn't be trying to create too much of it yet. Hugely talented across all his phases. I would expect he will still be series favourite. Michael Young now the leg favourite.
Well, we will watch this space. Chris Burton, the one to beat in the series. But Michael Young is the leader here in the leg. 21.7. It was a personal best at the level for Star Connection, looking for their third Event Rider Masters leg win. Gemma Tatzel, brilliant test with Jalapeno, sees them in second, and a career PB for Sarah Cohen and Treason. Maxime Livio, hugely impressive with the talented 9-year-old Appy Dulubert. 25.1. Look out for them in the jumping phases. And Tina Cooke, Billy the Red, well capable of finishing on that score of 28.5. A little bit further on down the leaderboard, Janelle Price just outside the top 10. Oliver Townend was first down the centre line. And there is Gireg Lacoste and Chris Burton. But look at that. 15 combinations, 30 or below. It really has been top quality competition, and we cannot discount the fact that we're talking about some of these tests being very critical when they are exceptional scores. That is just an example of the incredible talent that we have on display here in the series finale. We wouldn't expect anything else. We are very much looking forward to the jumping phases tomorrow, because the dressage has certainly lived up to every expectation. Now, there's 3 people who are in charge of the entire competition. They're in charge of judging the dressage, but they're also in charge of both the show jumping and the cross country as well, because it is their role. It's the ground jury, Angela Tucker, Natalie Carrier and Andrew Benny, all hugely experienced. And we'll go and hear from them with Hannah.
Thanks, Nicole. Well, it certainly has been an extraordinary competition this morning. So many fantastic combinations coming through and all being judged by a fantastic ground jury here. We've got Andrew Benny, we've got Natalie Carrier, and we've got Angela Tucker here. And Andrew, I'm going to come to you first. Some really superb marks straight from the off this morning, weren't there?
There were some very good tests, very good quality horses, and very well ridden. There were some surprising mistakes along the way, but that's horses.
Was there a particular standout performance for you, or a combination that really kind of stuck in your mind?
Well, I think there was a lot of them. All of them could have been in the lead. It's very, very close competition. They're all good.
Natalie, you're our French contingent here this weekend. Some fantastic French riders. Who for you really shone this morning?
Oh, I'm sorry because my English is very bad, but we have a very good test, and I think I saw the good horse of Maxime Livio, our friends. And but we have a lot of tests, very nice. I love the horse of Christopher Burton, but he did some disobedience, and I'm sorry.
No, Natalie, that was amazing. Far better than my French, I tell you that. Angela, we've spoken to you at many events, and it's lovely to have you here again. It was an extraordinary morning of competition. We had some fantastic combinations. It's a beautiful surface as well. Were you surprised by sort of the level of scores that we were getting?
No, I mean, I think they were
beautifully presented, and some horses became a little tense, were wonderfully expressive, but just that little bit of tension crept in, and that's, what happens at a wonderful occasion like this when there is a lot of atmosphere. And to me, it's just a wonderful event in that the music and everything, it really lifts it. And, obviously the horses do react to that. They're going to gallop and jump tomorrow. So sometimes it was a little hard to contain the wonderful expression and brilliance that these horses had.
It's such a high level of performance. Thank you so much to all three of you for your work this morning. As ever, we couldn't do it without the ground jury. Nicole, it has been an immense morning of competition. I cannot wait for tomorrow.
Absolutely has. And actually, we've just caught the best of the weather because the rain has started coming down behind us here in Lignières. Now, let's just have a second. I want you to tell us, if the positions finished as they were at the moment, which obviously isn't going to happen, what would happen with the series?
I'm processing, Nicole, but we would actually, Sarah Cohen would finish on 91 points if she was to come second. Chris Burton is currently in 15th. Even if he was to pull himself up to 10, he would actually finish on 90 points. So he's in 15th. If he gets to 10th, he would only get to 90 points. Sarah Cohen, if she was to come second behind Michael Young, she would get to 91 and she would win the series. The series is open again. Now the SAP Prediction Centre has run. We've been working hard on that. 100,000 times it's run in that break. We've used the predictive analytics. It's showing us Michael Young 34%, but now we have Sarah Cohen as second favourite for this leg. So it isn't a big stretch that we would say she could come second here. She has to jump clear in the morning. We've said that all the way along, but 91 points is now her target. And look, Chris has still got to pull himself up. I expect he will, but 10th place or 9th place would actually match her. That's the kind of numbers we're talking about. We didn't expect to be talking about those numbers. How the show jumping goes, how the time penalty goes, it's now getting very, very interesting.
Well, the pressure is on. Mark, thank you very much. We've loved having you with us for the entire 2019 series. Who do you think's going to win?
Michael's going to win this leg.
Okay. Can we ask for a series prediction? Go on.
Yeah, Sarah's going to win.
Oh.
Sarah deserves it.
Very bold.
Who
this. Will be on top of the Event Rider Masters podium here in Lignières-en-Berry? Well, it will be decided tomorrow. Will it be Chris Burton? Will it be Sarah Cohen? Janelle Price? Gireg Lacoste? Who is going to top the leg podium as well? Make sure you stay tuned tomorrow. We go live at 10:30 Central European Time. Thank you all very much for watching throughout the dressage today. Do stay tuned after the credits roll because there's a very exciting VT for you to see with Wilbury Wonder Pony in partnership with SAP. But for us here in the studio, that is all we've got time for. We'll be back 10:30 Central European Time tomorrow. Who'll be on top of that podium? We'll join you then.
Hannah Francis was a 17-year-old girl with a passion for eventing, but in 2015 she was diagnosed with osteosarcoma. Wilbury was by Hannah's side through every moment. Sadly, Hannah passed away in August of 2016, but her Wilbury Wonder Pony charity continues to fund research and grant Wilbury's wishes, creating special memories through amazing and memorable equestrian-based experiences. And since it was formed in 2016, the charity and its partners continue to look for new ways to grow, integrate and innovate.
We started researching the opportunities to put this money to work, and we very quickly began to generate significant momentum in terms of fundraising, and have now started our first research projects with leading universities in the UK. And we're also part funding some PhD studentships to try and grow the young scientists of tomorrow, all of whom are focusing on osteosarcoma research. SAP approached us as the technology partner of ERM and offered to help us not only build a greater presence through our involvement with ERM, but also from a technology point of view to help develop an app which would allow those enjoying the ERM series to participate with the charity through the app.
Technology is a major means to reach large audiences. Our spectator judging app, meanwhile, has become a standard in the sport. And as of today, donations for Hannah's Wilbury Wonder Pony can be made directly through this app. So you can just go to the header, click on Hannah's Wilbury Wonder Pony and do your donation. So whenever you judge along at one of the many events with spectator judging these days, think about it and you can make a difference and support Hannah's dream.
The Event Rider Masters series is about the ultimate in equestrian performance, but at its heart, it's about the relationship between a rider and a horse. And Hannah knew about the power of that relationship. And now here at the Event Rider Masters competition, the riders themselves are celebrating that passion that she had by riding with their own Wilbury Wonder Pony that reminds them of that very special relationship.
The charity is wonderful. All the event riders want to make sure that enough people donate for it, and now it's possible to donate to the SAP app to really do something very good.
I was very fortunate and lucky enough to go and meet Hannah and spend a bit of time with her. One of her dreams was to ride in an international arena with top hat and tails. She could barely get on a horse or off a horse, but when she was on a horse, she was mesmerising to watch. And I think how her legacy lives on through the charity and Wilbury Wonder Pony is fantastic.
Hannah was a real ambassador for the sport. She loved eventing. And she fought for this all the way until her last minutes, and it's great for us to be able to support this now and hopefully bring more awareness to more people and hopefully more money to the charity.
The message to the eventing community and to be honest the whole equestrian community is to keep pushing and keep the social media channels open, so I think everyone should dig deep and crack on and sponsor.
So please keep enjoying the content that Event Rider Masters is producing for you, and please keep donating to Hannah's Wilbury Wonder Pony charity.